What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Heavy Metallurgy. Happy Friday. We're on episode number 162. Tonight, my intrepid co-host is the one, the only Brainsmasher. Welcome, Ben. Welcome back. You're getting to be a familiar face in these parts.
It's hard to get rid of me. Real sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Yep, Alan and Mel are out on their anniversary, so have fun and cheers and congratulations to the Colson family. Awesome stuff. Ben, what's been going on with you?
I am in my yard as often as possible these days. Weather's been great. Just doing a lot of yard work and garden prep, stuff like that. Thanks, Ian. Collecting a lot of death metal, listening to a lot of death metal, going shows, just living the good life. That's about it.
Awesome. Well, good. And before we get our guests out here, Alan and myself have been trying to announce at the head of every show what is coming out on this day. Friday is typically release day in the metal world. It might be in the industry. I have no idea, but here we are, Friday, June 7th, 2024. List of new releases. We have Escalfa with Somber Vampiric Night on ATMF. Carnivore, the Carnivore re-release on Dissonance. DVRK, I don't know if that's supposed to be dark or whatever. Infinite Reminiscence EP on Season of Mist. Evergrey, Theories of Emptiness on Napalm. Fractal Generator, Convergence, Everlasting Spew Records. Huntsman, The Dry Land on Prosthetic. Insect Arc. Raw Blood Singing. Debemure Morty. I always struggle with that word.
Yeah, what word? What's not a word?
Debemure. I don't know. Nightmare, Encrypted, AFM, Sect, Plagues Upon Plagues on Southern Lord, Severe Torture, Torn from the Jaws of Death on Season of Mist.
Yeah.
Great band. Holy crap. Swelling Repulsion, Fatally Misguided on Transcending Obscurity Records. Ulcerate, Cutting the Throat of God on Debemure Morty. And Void Gazer, Dance of the Undesirables on Reigning Phoenix Records.
I wasn't invited to that dance.
We would have been kings of that dance.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm not desired by the undesirable.
But, yep, it's good to see you, Ben. Thanks for filling in Alan's seat, and we're going to have a good time tonight.
I'm not Alan's seat. This is just a little guest chair.
Well,
little stool I'm sitting on. I couldn't fill those shoes.
You know what I mean. But let's bring in our two guests. We've got Roger Kjørvik from the Roger Kjørvik channel. Welcome back, Roger. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All the way from Norway. And next up, our friend Jurgen from Jurgen 6 Beers 9 Wives. What's going on, man?
Nothing. Same as Ben. Out in the yard. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Plants need us.
Tilling those crops. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's good to see you. Roger, what's been going on with your channel? I know this is your busy time of year, so
yeah, it's not happening a lot. It's I tried to get a video out, collection of data. I did some, thrash OG and other thrash this last week. That's the only one, but I'll try to shoot one this weekend as well. So
I've seen a couple of YouTubers in the past few days. They're like, "I'm sorry, I haven't been on. I've been only uploading one video a week." Like, come on, we don't have to be that fastidious.
Jurgen, how about you? What's been going on over at over in 6 Beers Land?
Yeah, I'm planning to do a pestilence ranking video.
Mm.
Yeah, will be up maybe next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing the Rage review. There was a resounding bit of applause from the community. It was good to have you on.
It was good to do.
Natural. You're a natural. You have a face for radio.
But you're one to talk.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. Like I can, yeah. Anyway, well, we're here tonight to discuss underappreciated death metal, and let's be a bit honest here. It's tough to hear everything. And I understand why a lot of excellent death metal goes unappreciated or unheard of or underexposed, all of that, because too many bands. Can we all agree there's too many bands?
Yeah.
Granted, variety is the spice of life. We love getting a new band, that dopamine rush, but we just don't spend the time we used to back in the day spinning a new record. I think we can all agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it should be stated for the topic that we aren't really necessarily talking about newer bands or releases. Like, this is underappreciated old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I personally... Go ahead.
I don't know much about the current death metal scene.
Yeah.
I know of Blood Incantation, stuff like that, yeah, but that's not really my style.
And I know, there's a lot of good stuff, but I hear a lot of incantation worship. A lot of incantation worship, which, again, great, but let's spice it up a little bit. Roger, what about you? What do you think about the whole underappreciated lot?
Well, it's kind of, as you said, it's impossible to keep track. There's a lot of old stuff that I have discovered, the last 10 years that are, mid-90s stuff that we never got around here. So, but I mean, there's a lot of newer bands, like 2000 bands, that are pretty damn good that doesn't get any traction. It has to do with labels and, especially back in the days where they were recorded. I mean, if you played death metal and wasn't in a Morrison studio or something like that, you were probably getting overlooked. Yeah, it's kind of like there's so many bands that I have discovered the last 10, 15 years that, put out great stuff back in the days. So, yeah.
Right on. Ben, what do you think?
I think a lot of the stuff is going to be stuff that I found, I think mainly because of other YouTubers and doing this thing. So I think it's kind of fun to give back in a way. I want to say, I guess it's worth saying that, like, this isn't just your Sinisters or your Atrocities or your Morgoths or your Gorguts. We're going way, way, way down there, hopefully.
Well, I'm not, maybe a little bit.
Right, well, I am. And I think Roger probably is too.
Well, Jurgen too. Jurgen probably knows half the people he's shown tonight. He's drank them under the table somewhere in Germany. They're probably the reason why the band split up, because Jurgen got him drunk and broke up the band.
I drunk them under the table, not only in Germany, all over Europe.
I think there's a big crop of newer death metal bands who have no intention of reinventing the wheel. They aim to bring to light bands like this that we're going to be talking about here, and they just want to pay homage to those ideas and those styles and try them out in their own instruments and studios and jamming those kinds of things out. I really don't think there's a lot of bands out there that are really trying to break new territory, and I wish there was more of that going on. But I think death metal right now is really just kind of trying to reclaim the last 20 years that they kind of lost, where at the turn of the century, it got really stale and boring and samey. And so we've got a lot of time to make up for, but I do feel like the time is right now that we really start to branch out and work in new ideas or try out new things, because death metal is really back. I guess I'm more into it these days than I ever have, and I just love it. And there's so much undiscovered stuff out there. Like Ken's Death Metal Crypt has tons of stuff out there that's worth digging into, and there's so much killer stuff out there.
Yeah, and to your point, the bands that start trying new things, that's kind of a shaky proposition, because we're listening to stuff, we're like, oh, I've heard this all before, but yet when a band does something really weird and crazy, it's like, I don't like it. It's not like their other stuff. It's hard to make everyone happy. We've talked about this before on here. It's hard to strike gold every time too, especially a band that's been around for a long time. So, and to expect your favorite band to put out a great album every single year and a half, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask of a person, because sometimes it just ain't happening. Sometimes, look what happened to Gorefest. I mean, I almost pulled them, but I know why they're not. I know why they're underappreciated. They put out some amazing stuff, but they shot themselves in the foot after a really, truly great record. They put out a completely shitty record, and then they stayed in that sphere for a while before getting good again after years of being broke up. So there's a lot of reasons why bands like this could be underappreciated. It could be the label they're on. It could be they're in a scene with bigger bands that are like them. That's another thing. But I've got about 25 things to show, so maybe we should. There's 4 of us boys here. Maybe we should jump in and get this started. So, anybody have anything to add before we start doing that?
I've got a short question.
Yep.
Anybody of you 3, do you think there's a way to reinvent death metal, to make it something very special? I know a couple of years that cavernous stuff came out. All the bands nowadays, that's my feelings. Either they sound very, very old school or in that cavernous direction. Do you think there's another way?
That's a great question.
I do. I mean, I'm part of the problem. I'm not going to lie. My band, we're not reinventing any wheel by any means, but I think it's really hard for bands nowadays. I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but it's hard for bands nowadays because they're all using the same gear. They're all using the same plugins. They're all using the same, computerized shit. And it's easy for bands to do samey stuff. I mean, I think the only way to really start getting your own sound is tune differently. Don't all tune to A and B. We tune to B standard. A lot of these cavernous bands are tuned to A standard, and it's just or drop A, and it's just a muddled mess. But it's cool. It's awesome. It's fun to play in that style. But tune up higher. Change your gear. Maybe buy the less popular, like, this one band's sound rips. I got to figure. Oh, they use this pedal. Oh, cool. I'm going to get that. Anybody that plays guitar is guilty of that. They're like, oh, that sounds so killer. I got to have that shit. When you don't realize you're contributing to the problem. But is there a way for bands to, tuning, think outside the box a little bit? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't put it past anyone to, do something that truly breaks down a new barrier. But I think, I don't know, maybe it's just the limitations that I have. I think any new ideas are going to be taking this existing thing and this existing thing and melding it together in a unique way. I just think there's 10 billion bands. Everybody has a studio now. There are tons of people putting out tons of music now, and everything is being attempted. And it's going to be hard, I think, to even find something that is unique enough that it's going to be genre changing. I think there's a lot of pathways to death metal being made right now by a lot of really terrible deathcore and slam kind of stuff that's kind of big, because I think it's kind of harnessing hardcore and death metal and making kind of new inroads to the genre.
It's very modern. It's a very modern sound. I mean, stuff like Cattle Decapitation and bands like that, for sure. It's interesting, and it's fucking aggressive as hell. I don't like it per se, but I got a nod that it's really talented. It's, I don't know.
There's like Slaughter to Prevail stuff where it's just the exact same note. And it's just like sports to metal. I don't know, but that to me seems like a regression in a new way. Then that's not the kind of innovation that I'm looking for a truly inspiring, new direction for this genre. Either way, that's not at all what we're talking about. Underappreciated.
What about you, Roger, on Jurgen's question? What do you think?
Different, yeah.
Kind of. I mean, you have had like bands like Ulcerate and stuff like that who has pushed the boundaries. I would say, I mean, they have kind of started something unique, but it's, I mean, where do we draw the line? Where is death metal? Where is it just progressive, extreme metal in a way? I think that not to be gatekeeping. You kind of have to have certain rules for death metal, and I don't mind newer bands sound like old bands. For me, it's just the feeling and the riffs. I did see a band called the Horrifier from Norway playing on a very small stage at Inferno, like a small pub with 20 peoples. They are kind of as a lot of Norwegian bands, Autopsy kind of based band, but they have added technicality to it, and they were killer. So for me, it's not. I don't mind that newer bands, and it's kind of natural because these guys are discovering the old death metal themselves. So they kind of get influenced by what they're hearing, just like it was back in the good old days. I mean, there are bands like Dark Millennium who's pushing the boundaries a lot, I would say, and but it's kind of, it doesn't seem that is the audience want that type of music. If it gets too, I don't know, complicated or weird, people doesn't resonate to that type of death metal. People in general wants death metal to be death metal, and yeah.
So there isn't a lot of room for experimentation, is what you're saying, kind of.
And not if you're gonna be like popular or play a lot of live stuff. You know, it takes a lot to do that stuff live, and people that, a lot of people that goes to festivals are locked into the kind of the narrow-minded more-ness of death metal. So of course there will always be bands who experiment a lot with their sound, but will they get out there? It's hard to get recognition when you do. Like Dark Millennium, I think that band is fantastic, but they will never be big in my, like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, because it's just too much to handle for a lot of people in a way.
What about you, Jurgen? What do you think?
I think I've got the answer, because if you want to be individual, you have to try to record the sound the room you're in. Old bands did that. They had a primitive way of recording. They had no digital stuff, and you can hear the soul in the music, so to say, because everybody's got a little bit of a different sound. When you listen to the old demo stuff, that's extremely clear, I think. Yeah. When it comes to the early 90s stuff, you've got the Morris Sound stuff and the Sunlight stuff. And you've got everything in between, from good recordings to bad recordings, and even a bad production can have something that resonates with you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think the digital age we're living in now, not to talk it down, but we should try to capture more of the soul, the place we're in. I think that could be the answer.
I mean, modern technology is so focused on isolating everything, having complete control over everything. You know, you got to put triggers on those kick drums just to get them to cut because of all the distortion and speed. And we just talked about for an hour and a half about Sinister Wednesday night, and that's a prime example. There's a band that you can tell played a lot together. They're rehearsed. There's no click track on this, and they're not reinventing any wheel with their overall sound, but what makes that band special on that album is the songwriting, the riff playing. You know, it doesn't sound like every death metal band that's coming out right then. They walk the line between being crazy tech and memorable, which those two aren't typically exclusive.
That's the perfect combination.
Yeah.
Another thing I think that I guess I'll just complain about newer bands for a second. I just don't think often that you hear bands that sound ferocious, like they're attacking their instruments, like they're playing violently in a way that gets me really excited. Cross the Sticks has that in spades, and putting it on, you just feel immediately energized because it sounds like a room full of violent, pissed off guys just
throwing chairs at you. It sounds like they're throwing chairs at you. Yeah. The chairs miss and then roll down the stairs behind you. Yeah. I love it. So
and
good.
like a lot of bands put a lot of effort into practicing what they wrote, and it's really hard to do. But I want to really hear that. I want to hear it sound like a human is having a hard time either recording their vocals passionately, angrily. I want to hear some personality in that, and I think playing drums that way is also something that you can hear in a recording, and I miss that.
Right on. Okay.
What
well,
you boys got?
Jurgen, since you're up in the proper corner, we'll start with you. Let's get this show started.
Okay, I'm gonna start with an overappreciated and overhyped band. No, I'm not.
Yep.
Okay, my first pick was that was the first one I thought about. Sickening Gore's Destructive Reality. That has a unique sound. The music is a little bit like the very, very early Cannibal Corpse stuff, but it sounds so unique, and that is 1993. They could have gotten way bigger, but for some reason they only put out that one album. So, Sickening Gore from Switzerland, they were out on Massacre Records. They didn't even have a bad record contract. So,
great label.
Does anybody of you know that album?
Yeah.
I had the tape back in the day. Yeah. I don't know what happened to it, but I used to have it. Good.
I have the CD, yeah.
I haven't thought about that band in a long time. That's a good pull.
Yeah, listen to it. I played it in the car today, and it's still great. I bought it when it came out, so... Yeah.
That one, along with Accidental Suicide, for some reason...
They're in my list. Don't talk about them. Damn it. Shut your pie hole, guest host. I'm kidding. But you're right.
I'm right.
All right. Roger, what you got?
I'm going to start with a band from Netherlands called Pentacle, which is a long-running...
You bastard!
I'm destroying all your 25 CDs right away. So, yeah, just a kind of a band that I feel is totally overlooked. And
totally.
Yeah, and they're fucking great at what they do. Always liked this band. But it's not a band you see people talk about at all in the channels I watch anyways. But just pure quality Dutch death metal. Really, there is the handsome guys.
You know what?
I have the Fifth Moon, and I've never really gone beyond that. It's great.
They're one of those bands that, you know, during the early days when their early stuff was coming out, they always seemed to be. I was totally mystified by them. I'd hear songs here and there and be like, "Oh my god, they were hard to get here in the U.S." So it was like, you know, I would find these here and there at certain stores, and I'd end up paying way too much money. But it was just so solid and good. It just seemed like a band that had a bit of a buzz, but I think their distribution hurt them. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were to the 90s that a lot of people I think may not be aware of is that it was really hard to get stuff in different countries, and distributors are really important in getting stuff in certain places. I picked a lot of U.S. bands, so I don't hopefully overlap much.
What were you gonna say, Jurgen?
Yeah, the distribution for the Pentacle Records was really, really bad. A friend of mine did it. They were out on Iron Pegasus Records.
Yeah.
He also released the old Disaster stuff.
Yep, which was awesome too.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the stuff did pretty well distribution in Europe because that was what he knew. You know, just getting shit in Europe and U.S. It's kind of that way now. Really, it's plus now you have to pay. Well, back then you had to pay ridiculous shipping prices too. So I guess nothing's changed. Nothing changes, I guess. All right.
Nothing changes except for it's getting a little bit more expensive.
It is 100%. Hopefully, we're gonna hit a plateau with that, and maybe it'll start coming down, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Ben.
Okay. This was on my wish list for years and years and years and years and years. I only listened to it on MP3. Scored a copy of this a couple of years ago, and then about 2 months later, I found out that it was reissued. So you can get this pretty easily. But here's the demo tape: Infestation, Conceived. I mean, that's exactly how that ought to look, right? Mike DeSalvo sings on this. He went on to sing in Cryptopsy. But these guys were from, I don't know, New England area. But it's just crushing death-inspired kind of death metal. I'll be honest, it's going to be really hard for me tonight to pretend that some of this stuff is original. So it sounds like that. It's got some East Coast kind of New Yorky sort of rhythmic sort of highlights to it. But I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's original. Really, here is the CD reissue called The Antecedent, and they added, I think, their other demo on here. So it's the whole thing. It's on Bandcamp. For some reason, it comes in this black jewel case. I have no idea why.
Even.
Absolutely. Rules. Pick it up at once. And it's on Forever Underground, along with Redefining Darkness and Raw Skull Records. 3 really killer labels. The tape is all washed out. Can't see anything. That's my first pick.
All right. I would be surprised if anybody in this has this, but I could be wrong. This is a band from back in the 90s. It was from Eagan, Minnesota. And the name of the band was Ossuary Insane. You have it?
Yep.
Yeah, Demonize the Flesh. I was in talk with these guys. I interviewed them for Worm Gear back, and they interviewed Dare Prophet. And Cantor Celebrant passed away in 2011, so the band is kind of done. He was their vocalist, guitarist, bass player. I listened to this today. I just wanted to make sure. It's great. It's a bummer these guys never got bigger or better. I mean, their logo looks like a tramp stamp tribal tattoo, which is always unfortunate. But oh my God, it's just crushing and inventive. They're not tuned down super low. They're technical, but they don't get crazy. But they dip into some technical stuff, but they're mostly just a straight up old school death metal band with the vocals are kind of a mid range snarl. It's not. They don't sound like everybody. This Demonize the Flesh, it's got the full length album on it, and then the Fall into the Pits 1995 demo on the CD. This came out on Galdra Records.
Probably a self-release thing.
Yeah, it probably was. But, yep. These guys were really, really good. I know they sent me a demo after this album. They broke up for a while. They got back together. They sent me a couple song demo that sounded pretty good. But this stuff, if you do some digging, there's some bands out there that are really good. And these guys, they didn't fit into the Cannibal Corpses of the world or the Dismembers. Or they kind of lived in this, I would say, like with Angel Corpse, they're a less intense Angel Corpse. Maybe they're kind of in that realm somewhat, not as fast or exacting or that intense. They're intense in a different way, but I don't know. Ossuary Insane, Demonize the Flesh. This is great stuff from the U.S.
Saw them live.
Oh, right on. Were they good?
Yeah, I just wasn't really that into death metal when I saw them, but I bought their album anyways, and I was like, someday maybe I'll like this.
Right on. All right, Jurgen, you're back.
Okay, let's talk about the French scene a bit. French death metal. I only know the old stuff, and there were mainly 2 bands. There were mainly 2 bands that made it some kind of big. A band called Loud Blast. They released a couple of thrash metal stuff, aggressive thrash metal, and then they came with the Disincarnate album. So this is pure death metal, very, very inspired by death. Later on, they released Sublime Dementia, stuff like that. I really the band is still active, but I didn't follow them very much after that. And another band I really, really love. It's more about the thrashy death metal. It's the old Massacre stuff.
We just covered that too.
Yeah.
Godly.
I know you did Final Holocaust. My favorite album by them is Enjoy the Violence.
Yeah.
Right on.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
That Loud Blast is kind of the same situation for me as Pentacle for a while. I still don't own a Loud Blast album. I always wanted to hear that Sublime Dementia. I never could find it in the U.S. And by the time I thought about it, I don't know. It just never happened. It's weird. But you would recommend it, I take it. Good stuff.
Yeah, listen to the early 90s Loud Blast, yeah.
Right on.
The late 80s, it sounds very much like Creator.
Okay. Nice. All right, Roger.
Yeah, Loud Blast is killer. I do like the newer Loud Blast. I think they have released a couple of pretty damn good albums of late. They are kind of modernized the sound a little bit, but they still sound very good in my opinion. But for me, Sublime Dementia was my first Loud Blast, and I love that album. So I picked it out myself, but Jurgen spoiled it for me.
He beat you. Yeah.
One album that I haven't listened to for quite some time is Creep Mine.
Yeah.
With Shadows. And it's kind of, yeah. There you go.
It looks like Jerry from Rauta.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
So this band also is kind of one I discovered early 2000s because I never heard of them back in the days. But I managed to pick up a original. And back when I discovered them, before all the bootleg shit started to pop out. And yeah, just a very solid death metal band. I mean, it's not, again, it's not reinventing the wheel when you're looking back at it, but yeah, just a fun listen. As I said, it's been a while since I listened to this band, but browsing through my CDs last night, I was, pulling it out.
I've always been curious about that. That cover never really said "buy me" to me, but
same here. I saw that on a shelf at my record store for years, and I just thought, no, that doesn't look good.
Oh, is that a creep?
Good.
Go ahead.
Roger, do you know the second album?
Yeah, I do have that as well, but I didn't pull it out.
I think that is way, way better.
Yeah, they're just better players.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
They've
that
got
one.
a lot of jazzy elements on that one. They sound a lot like Pestilence.
Yeah, on that album, they are really kind of getting into that technical aspect of death metal for sure.
All right, Ben.
Okay. I'm gonna try and pick things that I know you guys won't have. Any fans of Broken Torso?
Yeah.
Got to thank Simon for turning me on to this one just a year or two ago. This is the cassette reissue, The Ultimate Abhorrence, on in Von Frost Records. Yeah, Canadian band. This came out. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Maybe 99, 98, something like that. Oh yeah, good Phantasm stuff, but totally brutal. Kind of like Cryptopsy, maybe a little bit more riffy, if you will, but just punishing. Like, talk about the energy, like a room full of energy of like young, pissed off guys recording death metal. It's just seething with violence and aggression, and just really shows.
What's
They
up,
broke
Metal
the
Cats?
hell out of those torsos. It's kind of a dumb, like, forgettable band name, Broken Torso, but it's really good. Fell down the other day and I broke my fucking torso.
All right. Well, this band, they think they broke up. That's why but man, I want to talk about catchy U.S. death metal. Gutted, Bleed for Us to Live. This is a band that, I would have been really interested to hear what the next album would have been. I mean, they're kind of groovy. The songs are very catchy, but they kept it old school death metal. It's not like an obituary level of super, how do I say this? Streamlined death metal. It is streamlined death metal, but there's more groove and flow and some faster parts. The vocalist, I can't remember his name. I can't read it. Yep, Mark Ditch. One of these guys passed away too, which is probably another reason why the band was done. But his vocals are, he enunciates well. You can understand what he's saying. I saw these guys once. They were great. They were totally crushing live. This CD crushes. It's one of those. This was on Red Light. I think this is an original. It's been reissued here a year or two ago, which it needed. It was time, and it looked like a nice reissue too. Good vinyl and good CD. But
it's hard to get here in the States though.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this is I always like this cover too. I don't know. This is a great record by a good U.S. Midwestern band. I think they're from Cleveland. Is that right? Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. So don't quote me on that.
Right.
They're from the Midwest somewhere, but excellent stuff. If they would have continued, it would have been interesting to hear how they would have developed. Would they have gone more simplistic? Would they have been a little more complicated? We'll never know. But Gutted, Bleed for Us to Live. And Jurgen is back.
I've got a German band for you. The band is called Torture, and the album is called Beyond the Veil. This is a pretty doomy death metal. Very thick and slick.
Yeah.
And that one came out on the One More Flop Records.
What is it?
One More Flop Records.
That's awesome.
Don't mind if I do.
And the label is run by the second singer of Angel Dust, Shellco. And he produced the album perfect. It has a perfect sound, a very unique sound. And that's why 2 years after that album came out, we decided to go to that studio to record our first album.
Who's that? Are you talking about the Violation? Is that the band you were in?
No, that was Inhuman back in the day. That was early 90s.
Huh. I want to hear it.
It's not good.
You say that about all your shit, but you're wrong. Most of the time you're wrong.
The album is called the band is called Inhuman, and the album is called Inner Fears. And Torture recorded a second album. Between the two albums, the two brothers that formed the band, they died in a car accident.
Oh, God.
Torture recorded that one with a new guitar player. He's called Mario. The second album is called The Essence. And Mario opened a tattoo studio in my hometown.
With his cousin Luigi?
Yeah.
Sorry. That was terrible. I had to throw it out there. It was terrible. It was bad. I had to say it. Sorry. Anyway, good one. Roger.
Yeah, I'm going to Poland and Armageddon with 1D. And what's the name of this album? Invisible Circle. Very much in the vein of Vader, I would say. But a lot of the bands in Poland back then had kind of distinguished sound with a little bit thrashy death metal. But yeah, pretty damn good album. This is a reissue that has the kind of EP attached to it as well. So it's out on. It's reissued on Thrashing Madness, which has done a lot of cool underground, mostly Polish thrash and death metal reissues. So through that label, I kind of discovered or get into this band as well. So they're still active, but yeah, they don't sound like this anymore, like they used to. But yeah, pretty damn good band that you kind of never see. But
Never heard
maybe
of them,
because
yeah.
they play Armageddon with 1D, is weird.
I love that rule of thumb where when you want to create a band and name it, and the name is taken, all you got to do is either add a letter or take out a letter.
Or spell it kooky, like with a Z or something,
or torture with a CH.
Yeah.
That torture CD is so good. I picked that up in a used shop a couple of years ago, and they wanted $60 for it, and I had never heard anything about it, and I bought it, and it's amazing.
The vocals on that Torture record are outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Everything about it crushes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we should do a drinking game where we drink every time one of us says crushes.
Or sick. Or sick. Yeah.
Sick.
All right. Ben.
Speaking of sick, so I kind of picked a lot of Midwest stuff because me and Marty are from the Midwest, and I felt like that would be the least likely to overlap with what you guys would pick. So I'll just work through my kind of more obvious ones. That I did a video on this topic a couple of months ago. So, and then we'll get into like the really, really deep underground kind of stuff. But Ceremonium, I feel like a lot of guys are kind of starting to.
That was my next pull.
Damn it! I totally randomly picked this.
That's right.
But this should never be overlooked. Into the Autumn Shade. There is a 2 CD reissue of all their stuff, although I think they're getting active again or something here soon.
I don't know about that. That guy is he doesn't seem to.
Screws loose.
Yeah, he doesn't get it all together. I don't know.
But anytime someone talks about Death Doom, this is really one of the big templates here that everyone should be worshiping. It is godly in every way. It's one of the most atmospheric death metal albums I think I've ever heard. But it's also kind of got a real autumnal, sort of sorrowful sort of feel, kind of reminiscent of like Solitude Aeternus in some ways.
There's a little bit of Soulside Journey on this one too, I think.
Correct, yeah. And the way Jurgen was saying, you can hear the room. I really feel like in Ceremonium, it sounds like you're like seeing them in an intimate live setting or something. It's really captivating.
I have the 7-inch as well, but I'm not gonna go dig that out. Good shit.
Nightfall
Good
Heavy.
band. All right. Oh, I'm next. Well, that was my next. Funebrarum.
Yeah.
No Sleep. The Sleep of Morbid Dreams. All their shit's great. All the stuff I have by them, absolutely crushing East Coast death metal. I always wondered why this didn't get bigger. It's because it's got the old school vibe. They don't sound like everybody. They don't sound like Incantation. They just sound like good evil death metal. The EP that came before this is a little bit more on the doomy side, but this is just crushing, awesome, super well crafted death metal all the way through. It's one of those records I used to put on and listen to it 3 times. It hit the spot every time. I picked up some later stuff here and there, and I got it on vinyl, and I don't listen to it nearly as much as I should. But this is killer stuff. Excellent.
That band for me was like the first time, and I'll use the word that Kellen is really overusing lately, is a demarcation where
$5 word guy. Yeah.
It's like newer bands referencing old death metal.
Yeah.
And that was where I really felt like, okay, we're going to start like paying homage to bands of the early 90s. And they did it. That was like the best iteration of around that time period.
All right. Jurgen.
Does anybody remember the 80s where hardcore and death metal got mixed up a little bit? Listen to that. Postmortem's Coroner's Office.
I have the missing link.
The missing link is the EP that came after that. They became a lot more hardcore on that one. That one still has the old Possessed influences, Came out in 1986 on New Renaissance Records. Everybody knows the logo for some reason, but nobody's heard the music.
I don't think I've heard that one. I've only heard the Missing Link.
That one is way better than the debut album, than the EP that came after it.
Yeah.
So Coroner's Office is, one of the early. Can you call it death metal? It's a borderline, but yeah. Check that one out.
Will do.
Sorry, we're co-conspiring in the private chat of shit we've shared. Anyway, all right, good poll. I haven't thought about that band in a long time. Roger.
I'm going to Australia with Infinitum. The Sixth Extinction from 2012. This band was 2 albums only. Pretty damn good stuff. It's more in the vein of Suffocation, I would say. Not copying really, but it is in that line of death metal. Some technicality and pretty brutal as well. A self-released album. I think both of them were self-released. I don't remember, but I just pulled this one. So I played this last night, and it was I kind of had to. It's not a good logo, and it's do it yourself. And if you see this in a shop, you probably just flip through it. So, but I'm glad I picked up those 2 albums.
Never heard of them.
No, but I mean they're self-released, and there's been no promotion for it.
Yeah.
Until now.
Right on. There you go.
Tough era. Around 2012 is really not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, like the early, or from 2000 to mid 2010, it was kind of a lot of bands that either didn't get a record deal or just didn't get up to the surface.
All right, Ben, you are up.
All right. So we tried to kind of weed out any other things that I thought Marty and I were likely to poll. So hopefully this isn't. So this is, I guess, maybe the biggest name, I think.
Sorry. Laughing at the chat.
That's a couple weeks ago. I'm stoked to see that they're getting a reissue campaign, and stuff is like people are really starting to pay attention to this band again. But Solstice of Oppression by Oppressors. Man, there's moments on this thing that sound like Immortal, where the riffing is so frenzied and crazy. Not necessarily just technical, but just really, really different. I thought these guys were really trying to break outside of the styles, and I really don't think there's a whole lot you can compare this to. Kind of Suffocation. It isn't really Morbid Angel or Death or anything. It's really technical in a kind of a whole new way. This art reminds me a lot of that Gutted that you showed, Marty. But man, this album and me go way, way, way back. And I just consider it a total essential. They were from Milwaukee. You guys heard of this over across the pond?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. I never know, like, living in the Midwest, we mostly listen to Midwest death metal. And so I wonder, like, are those bands bigger outside of, in Europe?
Yeah, they are. The first Oppressor is very well known. Yeah.
Sweet.
Do I mix something up? The singer and Oppressor was Keith DeVito.
Was it what?
Is his name Keith DeVito?
That doesn't ring a bell. It could be. I don't really know their names, I don't think.
I can look it up real quick. Oh.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
one of the members went on to be in a not metal band, like big time radio band called Soil.
Oh yeah, all right.
And I don't know if they're still active or what, but it looks like Oppressor is back to being active again.
No, there's no vocals. Tim King on that album.
So I'm mixing that up. Okay. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, since Ben went to Milwaukee, I'll go to Milwaukee too. Accidental Suicide with Deceased.
Yes.
I was listening to this today. I pulled it off the shelf. I'm like, I remember really liking this and always wondered why they never, well, they were on Def Records and Grindcore. So that's usually a indication that, but I mean, I picked it up at a Camelot. So, I mean, it obviously got some distribution. There was what track was it? Morbid Indulgence? Oh, I can't read it very well. It's red on a beige background. The third track, there's like these evil keyboards like mixed into the music. It's so freaking cool. Oh my God. I just like, it's so old school. It just kind of plods along. They get quicker here and there. Really sick singer. And then they throw those little evil keyboard flourishes in there. It's like such a sweet fucking mix. But yeah, this is one of those bands. I think they're a one and done. Here, let me look it up real quick. I just had it up.
I know they have other stuff out, but
They had an EP.
They were on a split called Vile Vibes 2 with oh no, that was a comp. Okay.
vibes.
2 demos, Vile Vibes comp, Deceased, and then compilation Dead Erotica.
Yeah,
Which that's all that's on Metal Archives. That doesn't mean there wasn't more. Seems like I've seen something else. I think you're right, Roger. I think.
Yeah, but I was thinking about the Dead Erotica stuff, which is kind of. I do have the kind of Death Records edition of it that has a different.
That cover art wasn't doing them any favors for sure.
Well, I picked it up because of the cover.
Yeah, I mean, smart guys would pick that up. But, I mean,
but yeah, I fucking love it, and the vocals on this album is insanely good.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
sick. I think P still just reissued that on vinyl.
Yeah, I bought it on vinyl last year. So
really, right on.
Yeah, I promoted it as good as I could and showed it on videos and sending it to certain other individuals in the VC so they could talk about it as well. So just to get it out there, because I think everybody who's into death metal should listen to that album.
Doesn't sound like Incantation, so or it doesn't sound like a 20 Buck Spin band either. So
yeah,
and they had a kind of very special sound on the guitars as well. So it's kind of it is a pretty unique album, I would say.
It's well produced. Yeah, listen to it today. I'm like, wow, this holds up really well. Holds up well. All right, Jurgen, you are back.
Yeah, for some reason the Def Records was distributed in the 80s through Roadrunner Records here in Europe, and the original Accidental Suicide, it was distributed through Peaceville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Peaceville did the reissues on it as well.
Right.
Yeah, I always thought they were like a subsidiary or something like that because they did like Isengard.
Yeah, there was some stuff coming out on the Death record label. Or
I'm not going to show this, but this was on Def.
Yeah.
You just did. Bastard. That's all right. I've shown it on here a bunch too over the years. But all right, Jurgen.
Okay, let's go over to Sweden and an off-spring band, so to say. 2 brothers made some really, really weird stuff. I get it why they didn't make it big. But
yeah,
Dawn of Dreams by Pandemonium and the Chaos LP.
Did you have Dan sign that locally? Were you in the grocery store and you bumped into him?
No, I'm in contact with his wife, Eva.
So right on.
He signed it for me.
Nice.
This is really, really weird, down-tuned stuff. Some jazz mixed within. Ben, I like my jazz.
Yeah.
Look at them. Those were pretty young dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Dan and Doug Swanner, they've got some saxophone going on with it, weird song structures, weird vocals. band picture on that looks like that.
Those guys were truly treading new territory.
Yeah.
That's the kind of experimentation it's going to take to.
And they were having fun doing it. They weren't super serious. You know, like the song with the arena crowd noise in the background and all this stupid shit like that is funny. It makes it cool.
Yeah.
If you don't know these two, look them up and be prepared for something way different.
Challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good pick. All right. Roger.
I'm going to Finland. This is also kind of a early 2000 band that's sadly no longer existing, but it's Suta Jumala with Raunuisa. And this is modern death metal, like 2000. I don't remember, 2010, maybe 15. Just a killer band that's not a lot of people talk about. Did 5-6 albums, I think, from early 2000. This album is self-released. It was the last album and their best. Just killer, very riffy death metal US style, I would say. The vocals here are just fucking killer. The guy, he just plays black metal. He plays I played bass in Beatles, and I think he's in the Hexen as well. And just a fantastic, brutal, raspy, and they're singing in Finnish, so it's really, and you can hear what he's singing, and that's the really cool thing about it. And the second song here is just fucking brilliant, riffy, headbanging stuff. So, yeah. A band that I wish that had catched more attention when they were active, because they were really good. So
I gotta tell you that the Finnish bands, they name their bands in Finnish, and they're only going to appeal to the Finnish crowd most of the time. That's kind of a shoot yourself in the foot type of thing. I don't know why it works for Norwegians, but it doesn't work for the Finns. But it's, of course, the Finnish language is insane. So I mean,
it's kind of But I also
always in Finnish. It's like.
Yeah. Never heard of that one either. Good pick. All right, Ben.
Back to Sweden. Maybe you guys would have picked this, but man, I'm always hammering on this band and this release with Moondark, The Shadow Path.
Never heard.
Really? Douche. I don't think the members went on to do anything. This is a compilation of 2 demos, but it kind of plays like an album, and it's called The Shadow Path. Weirdly enough, No Colors put this out. Really weird for them. But it's really unique. It's got a real simplistic, sort of sludgy, plodding slowness to it. But it winds up kind of being atmospheric. When I first heard Autopsy, I was surprised at how not brutal it was and not violent or intense. It was gross and kind of murky and swampy, and that had a real atmospheric quality to it. And this is kind of, it doesn't sound like Autopsy, but it has an atmosphere that's kind of creepy and eerie in that way, if that sounds familiar at all. But it's got some kind of almost sludgy moments to it as well. I just don't understand why this isn't a huge, huge band. But yeah, get on this Moondark stuff. Either of you guys heard this?
Yeah.
Nope.
Damn. It's really monochromatic.
Okay.
Did a whole video on where I talked about Moondark and Dark Moon. Thought that was hilarious.
Right on. Okay, I don't anticipate many people to like this, and I've always wondered why I've liked it so much over the years, but I've always loved this EP. This is a band from Green Bay, Wisconsin, back in Wisconsin. They were called Bleed. The album was called Womb. This is industrial death metal. I mean, it was a big inspiration for my first band, Prosthesis. We didn't have a drummer, so we had to use a drum machine. So hearing other bands doing death metal with drum machines was kind of like an aha moment. It's okay to do this because we have no choice in the matter. And there was no superior drummer back in the day, so you had to get the old Alesis HR-16, kick, snare, kick, snare. It was a pain in the ass. Talk about killing creativity. It slows everything down. But they put out this one EP, and then they changed their name to Crawl. It's very much the same vein as Bleed, but the songs, they kind of lean a little bit more into the industrial. I like the Bleed better. They mess with some different vocal styles on here. The Bleed is just death metal vocals. Members of this band, I think, went on to be in Aphotic. Let me see.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure I'm right on that.
Kind of reminded me of Godflesh in a way.
Kind of. It was death metal Godflesh. Yeah, one guy went on to be in the guitar player for Aphotic, which is another Green Bay-based band. But yeah, I don't anticipate people to run out and to flag this down. Yeah, it's the same cover as the Godflesh album too. But I don't know. This is interesting stuff for me. It's fun to listen to this on occasion. Super catchy death metal, kind of groovy but brutal at times, but with that exact machine-like drum sound underneath it. I always thought it was cool. It would have been cool to hear them stick with it, kind of perfect what they're doing, because there is a lane for that for the industrial tag in metal. It's a niche within a niche, but interesting for me anyway.
I'm surprised it wasn't more explored. Honestly, there's bands like that. Mortician had a pretty decent success at it. I think there's some room for the kind of cold, dark death metal with a drum machine. I
mean, it worked for some black metal bands. You look at like Mysticum. I mean, the Streams of Inferno rules because of that. I love that cold rhythm section on that thing. It sets them apart. It sets them apart.
Definitely.
Jurgen.
Speaking of evil death metal with drum machine, I've been listening to Foreigner's Chant Provocateur before the stream with my girlfriend. That
Foreigner?
Foreigner, yeah.
Oh, which one?
Agent Provocator.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a drum machine?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be easy to program for, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I want to talk about another German band from my era. This is Venenum with their first EP, 4-track EP. This was supposed to be a demo. This is an Austrian guy that moved over to my era and found some musicians there. This is the most of the, let's call it a little bit cavernous stuff that I like. And they did a first album, Trance of Death.
That I have.
A year later. And listen to the last song. They really know what they do because they have a lot of classic rock influences. A lot of classic solos, song structures, stuff like that. I love that band.
Okay.
I'll have to pull that out again. I know I have it. Someone sent it to me, and I don't remember what it sounds like at all.
Yeah, just put on the last song. It lasts for 10 or 12 minutes.
For sure.
Great.
Okay. Roger.
This one?
Yeah.
Do I need to say more?
No.
Never heard of it. So yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, do go and check it out. I mean, both. I don't remember the second album, what the title of that, but yeah, just pure class death metal. In the, I don't know when this came out, 90. I don't remember. I should have double checked that, but early 90s or mid 90s.
93.
Yeah, that might be correct. Just killer kind of a little bit technical in a way, but not like overdoing anything. But yeah, just a great sounding. It sounds like it should in that era of death metal, and this is a reissue on Vic Records.
A pretty cool album cover ruined by a font. That should have been a logo of some sort in that corner.
Yeah,
that corner's begging for a logo.
Yeah, and that's there's several bands that have like, yeah, it's not a selling point at all. I mean, back in the days when I wouldn't pick this up because it doesn't look really good, and it definitely.
I think things like that kind of pick my interest, and I go, oh, you made a bad decision on a font. Might be curious about it.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
like accidental suicide cover artwork. Terrible, but I'm interested.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. But for me, especially logos, if there once wasn't, I mean, covers could be as bad as they just could, but if the logo was like just like this, I have another example of it. It's kind of just, yeah.
All right.
I get both sides. The cover could be terrible, and the logo is fun. I'm interested, and the cover is all right, and the logo is shit. I'm gonna listen to it.
Sometimes it's a good indicator. You never know. All right, Ben.
It's almost like it feels great when it's a great album that should never deserve to be picked up, and you're like, I picked it up because I knew it was gonna be good.
I had faith.
Yeah, because I've got excellent taste. To Germany, maybe you'll have this, Jurgen. I don't know, but I bet you know these guys. Pavor, Furioso.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is bananas. I was suggesting this to somebody earlier today, and I said, "This makes Necrophagus sound like Rage Against the Machine." He said that's a bananas sentence. These guys, man, you probably mostly know Rainer Landferman for singing in Bethlehem for one of their albums.
Mm-hmm.
I think the drummer is in Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult. But I don't think they did anything else. I know Rainer has some solo records that are absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the most technical thing I think I've ever heard. It's what I always tell people is that, yeah, the cover is, again, cover artwork. Why would you ever pick this up? The logo looks terrible. This looks like some kind of hip hop thing, 92 or something, right?
Yeah.
But I always describe this as the most arrogant death metal band you're ever going to hear. They don't want you to like it.
No, I'm just laughing about the arrogant thing, because I think I told that story before. I know a couple of the people surrounding the Bethlehem people, and I met them at festivals, and I snorted a line of coke from a car bumper with them. So I know where the arrogant thing is coming from.
Chemically enhanced. Yeah.
And I don't mean to sound like the people that wrote this music are arrogant. Maybe they are, whatever. But the music itself is so arrogant that it doesn't want you to like it. It is really, really impossible. There are not comfortable grooves to enjoy. It is always technically difficult and obnoxious and challenging as all hell. So if you feel like climbing a mountain, give this thing a shot. It is well worth it.
That cover is shit. It is pure shit. It's like, I'd like to hear the band meeting. We'll keep the cover streamlined and nondescript. We'll let the music do the talking. No, they didn't have the money to pay an artist.
Let's take the logo out and just have the shiny thing and have a song called A Schizoid Uglifier.
Yeah.
Inflictor of Grimness.
Dilettantes Dilemma.
Look at the expression on their face. This is such a treasure.
Oh, the guy in the back, the bald guy in the back looks like he's farting and realized halfway through that there's actually poop there.
Need anything suggestive here, Marty?
What the hell is that?
So, I actually contacted Rainer because I had a hard time tracking down this copy of it, actually. And he didn't get in touch with me until after I actually found a copy of it. But he said, yeah, I still have copies of it. So people don't want this thing, apparently. Or he didn't bother, like, trying to sell it on a website or whatever.
I don't think it's very promoted.
Yeah.
But I do have both the albums. They released an album in 94, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember when that one came out. Was it after that?
2000s, early 2000, I think.
Huh.
I don't remember. I just think, but yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know why this band wasn't huge, because as far as Finnish evil death metal goes, man, these guys were awesome. And I'm talking about Demigod, Slumber of Sullen Eyes. This album absolutely slays and crushes, and it was on Drowned. Although I see an SPV logo on here, a couple of them actually. So, I mean, it got some distribution, but here in the US, this CD, this is an original pressing. I don't know if it changed before it got reissued, but I mean, even the reissues are expensive. So, I mean, trying to track down one of these is, don't be scared to drop a bunch of money. I got mine for like $6 from, what the hell is his name? Prozac. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got it from him back in the day. But
Anus.com?
Anus.com, yep. Anyway, this album is absolutely great. If you want, you look up the definition for Finnish death metal in a dictionary, there better be these guys' picture, these kids' picture next to the, because it's just, man, you could tell they're young, but the songwriting is really good. The riffs are good. The songcraft is good. And they just, malevolent sound to it. That was a Finnish thing, man. I don't know. All the long nights and stuff and whatnot, I guess, and getting drunk and drowning in a lake type of shit. But this rules. And if you don't believe me, check it out online. There's a reason people pay big bucks for this stuff. It's really well done.
SWAT Records have been reissuing that last couple of years, so it should be easier to get hold of now.
Awesome.
So.
Super ambitious record.
Yeah.
The tone on it is just thundering.
Sick. Sick. Yeah. All right, Jurgen, you're back.
So, an underappreciated scene is the Austrian scene. Pretty well-known bands, but yeah, they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. They really didn't. They were on the right label too. They just didn't.
Yeah.
And they were great.
And you've got two of them on the same record.
On the same record. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So, Punch and Stench had a pretty unique sound. They were sounding a little bit like early Carcass, but way more in a rock way. And they showed the influences all over that one. So the early Punch and Stench stuff is very, very unique.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said earlier, you can hear the room where they recorded it in. Even Bean Caught Buttering. Bean Caught Buttering has some slap bass and the Brain Pan Blues. Disharmonic Orchestra as well. They had a very, very unique sound.
Yeah.
Their first album, Expositionsprophylaxe.
Yep.
Such a unique record. It has a sound no one else had.
Nope.
They had breaks every 2.5 seconds. Very, very weird stuff. And an offshoot of Disharmonic Orchestra a couple of years later was a Disastrous Murmur.
Oh, yeah.
Now, see, I did not know that had Disharmonic Orchestra guys in it.
Oh, yeah. Their bass player and singer, Harold, on that album, he used to be in Disharmonic Orchestra before.
Ah, right on. Didn't know that. Cool.
So,
I even like the Not to Be Unidimensionally Conscious album too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the beat back.
Bum, bum, bam, bum, bum, bum. That's a great song, though. The song Groove is awesome. I love the feel and vibe of that song. They were a unique band. You're right.
Yeah.
The Austrians, kind of different.
They had another. They had a couple of records. They are still active. The Symphonic Orchestra. They had an album after the second one.
Pleasure Dome.
The Pleasure Dome. Yeah, it's got a lot of Voivod influences, and I really, really like that album.
I've never heard that record. I need to check it out.
It's weird. It has nothing to do with death metal. It's just weird.
Yep. Good weird band.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ben.
Me. Should I do a U.S. band or a Norwegian band? No one cares. All right. So I just saw today that the Spastic Inc. albums were reissued on vinyl. A lot of people don't know anything about this Blotted Science or Spastic Inc. for that matter, but
It's killer.
Huh?
It's killer shit.
Yeah. Ron Jarzombek. I don't know if this is like after Watchtower or during Watchtower or what.
That's after.
I think is he back in the band now?
I see they're putting out stuff. I could look. Hold on. I got the archives up. Hold on.
Either way, Blotted Science came out after Spastic Inc. So I'll just go to Spastic Inc. was way more guitar oriented, shreddy, just almost like just guitar and noodling play kind of stuff. Very experimental. And he played with his brother Bobby Jarzombek on at least one of the albums.
Yeah, Ron Jarzombek is on the. They put out Concepts of Math Book 1 EP in 2016 is their latest release, and Ron Jarzombek's in it. So is Alan Tecchio, the singer. It looks like the band. So yeah.
Oh. I think they just played in Chicago recently. Anyway, so this is kind of Ron Jarzombek doing his thing, which is very noodly, very technical. Only on this album, he implores drummers Charlie Zeleny, who played in Behold the Arctopus, killer band, and Derek Roddy. And then the bass player on this is Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse.
Yep.
And it's instrumental. So there's kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say this needs vocals, and I don't know, it's not distractingly.
It doesn't need them though, and I'm a guy that I get real bored by instrumentals. So I like an instrumental song on occasion on an album, but a whole album, I need vocals. But that is so wackadoo. You don't really care. It's cool. It's really well done.
It could be just a lot of boring shred stuff, but he really locks into a lot of cool grooves and experiments with some interesting time signatures and stuff. It's super technical, not nearly like your Pavor or anything like that. But if you're into Cannibal Corpse at all and you're interested in something techie, it's just a really different kind of thing. Spastic Inc. and Blotted Science are really, really underappreciated. And they have I think they have an EP after this that I have actually right back over there somewhere. But awesome band. And self-released as far as I know, not really on a big label. This is 2007. But yeah, shreds.
All right. Sorry, I'm writing something down. Okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to these in a while, and I threw on Those Shredded Dreams today and was reminded how great Furbowl was.
Yes.
Swedish band?
Yep.
I want to say? Yep. This album was recorded at a studio called Forest Studio. So, I mean, here you got a Swedish band playing Swedish death metal, but the guitar tone is pretty sick. It's a pretty sick guitar tone, and it doesn't sound like everybody else. They kind of had their own kind of flavor, even though they were definitely in that realm. Their follow-up album, can't remember the name, The Autumn Years. It basically kind of follows the Entomb path. They get a little bit more groovy on this one. I still like it, but this one here for sure is a crushing album. It seems like one of those bands that right place, right time. You know, their first album was on Step 1 from Uppsala, Sweden, and the second one's on Black Mark. So this may never be reissued ever again. Who knows? It might be lost to the annals of time. But
no, it was. Vic just did it.
Vic did it. Right on. Good.
They also released along with it The Forgotten Tapes, which was a long lost album they recorded that never got released.
How is that?
Along with Live on the Radio 93. I have only listened to this, barely paid attention once. I need to come back to it.
Right on.
I'm buying so much. I was buying so much stuff late last year that it just kind of got lost in my piles. Yeah, Vic Records is doing great work.
Awesome. Yeah, and this is a good band. It's, like I said, being in the realm, in the area they were during the heyday, it seems like they should have been spoken in the same voice as, Grave and Entombed and Dismember, but alas, here we are.
I think that is maybe the earliest that I've heard bands trying out those ideas that Entombed kind of wound up doing. And Carcass kind of doing the death and roll kind of stuff. And in this case, it's not very hard to swallow. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jurgen.
Okay, we're talking about stuff that is not really hard to swallow. Can you imagine people from Amorphis and Sentence getting together and doing a death metal record?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know that.
Chaos Breed's Brutal. This is such a primitive record. It has it has the old vibes, although it was released in 2004. Taneli Yara's vocals are exceptional on that, and you can feel the influence all over the place. They even got a song, which name escapes me right now. I think it was Faces of Death, and it sounds exactly like South of Heaven from Slayer in a death metal way. And
right.
If you like Taneli's vocals between Amok and North from Here, do check that one out.
I had the EP. Unleashed Carnage.
Great album, that one. It's kind of shame that they didn't do more of it.
Yeah.
I guess I skipped you, Roger. I'm sorry.
Yeah, last round, yeah. But that's
you can go twice. You go twice this next time here.
Wait, other song titles on there include Demon Skunk and Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
No, I remember you showing that on your channel before, Jurgen. That's one you really dig. I had the EP. I never heard that one, but apparently I need to check it out.
Yeah, all the EP tracks are also on the album.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Good pick. All right, Roger. Sorry I skipped you. What's that?
The CD version looks like that.
Yeah, I do have the CD version of it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Roger, my apologies. Didn't mean to skip you. It happens.
That's quite all right. No problem. You can do what you want. It's your channel.
No, go ahead and go twice.
Well, I was sticking in Austria with miasma.
Mm-hmm.
I could brought out changes, but I've shown that so many times. So I would just this fantastic cover.
It is. Always thought that was cool.
And the title for a kind of a brutal death metal act, Love Songs, it's just a good fun. Yeah, I mean, Changes is an excellent album, and yeah, I had to have this as well. I did find it. This is an original Lethal. I found it unused. Yeah, when I kind of discovered. Yeah, it looks brand new. I mean, it's not a. I think it was in a shrink wrap when I bought it as well. So It's kind of awesome. That's kind of.
It was in the shrink wrap? Well, yeah, that's probably a Russian boot.
No, it's not a Russian boot. I've checked.
Sure?
I bought it way before the Russian boots were made.
Right on.
So, but maybe the seller has wrapped it to. I don't know, but yeah. This is an OG. I've triple checked because I hate Russian boots. So.
Boy, a little bit of a military operation in Ukraine sure did put the kibosh to Russian bootlegs on eBay, hasn't it?
that's the only good thing about that war in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my second pick is not a unknown band per se, but everybody talks about the first two albums, Brutality in Morning, which is a absolutely banger of an album, a little bit more technical than the first two. Screaming for, and the other one is the one, but I don't see people talk about this, and that's a shame. And also, kind of their later stuff is pretty good as well.
It is pretty good. Agreed.
Yeah. So
they got kind of melodic. Is that one kind of melodic?
No,
it's not melodic at all. I mean, they are just more kind of leads wise. It might be a little bit, but it still sounds like the first two albums. It's just like a little bit more, better playing and a better production in a way. It's not as raw in the production as the first two, but a absolutely banger of an album. And it's kind of a shame that this band doesn't get more love, I would say, than they do, apart from the first two albums.
Yeah.
And I really like the Sea of Ignorance that came out 6 years ago. Apart from the long battery cover they put on just to make the album long enough to call it an album, but that's kind of, it was actually an EP, then they threw on a 11 minutes long battery song. So
cheating. Yeah, call that cheating.
Yeah, that's cheating. So I was kind of, but whatever.
Good pick. Absolutely. All right, Ben.
All right, I've got some. So this is the whole band's discography. Their demo, talking about Misery's Omen. Look at that cover artwork, would you? And then the debut EP came out on Bind Rune Recordings. May have heard of that label.
Nice second release.
Yeah, Bind Rune 002. And then their final release, I hope it's not their final release, came out on a great Norwegian label, Worship Him. This is an Australian band. It's kind of a stretch, I guess, to call them death metal. They certainly aren't black metal by any stretch, but the vocals are very guttural and deep, and their tonality is, I think they're tuned pretty low most of the time. I can't really pick a favorite material, but this is a full length. Like I said, this is an EP. It's really, really challenging and different and progressive and kind of techy sometimes. It's members of Stargazer. Those guys are
Johnny Touch.
A million bands.
Johnny
Correct,
Touch,
yeah.
member. Sacrifix.
The drummer in this band goes by the name of Maleficant Pope Choker. And I actually was in a band for a short period of time called Pope Choker, because I think that is the greatest band name I've ever heard of. But yeah, super unique, really, really dark stuff. And Marty, are you sold out of this one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if I still had copies of that, I'm doing everything wrong. That was 20-some years ago that came out.
But I'm sure you can get
24 years ago.
Discogs for probably $3.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It's amazing stuff. How did you wind up getting in touch with these guys? Did they reach out to you, or you liked it?
I think they sent the demo tape in for review on Worm Gear.
Huh.
And I reached out to them, and yeah, they didn't have anything new, so I ended up, that CD is basically the demo and the 7-inch put together on one CD. Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep. All right. Good pick. And I haven't listened to this one in a while, but I was really, really impressed by the Draped in Cerecloth and Hecatomb EPs. So I ended up picking up Repugnant, Epitome of Darkness. And of course, that those of you who don't know, if you like Ghost, well, your Papa Emeritus guy was the main dude in this band. He was the singer and guitar player, bass player. I don't know. I don't remember. I have it pulled up here. I could actually look it up.
I think the drummer ended up in Dismember.
I don't know. The names here, I don't know. I just know that the Tobias Forge came from this band lineup.
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have his name on here. He must be going under a pseudonym in the shit. But great thrashy death metal, really well done. Sinister vibe to it, not Sinister the band, just kind of a malevolent, evil twist to it. Like I said, the Draped in Cerecloth demo, I distributed it back the day. Went through like 20 copies of it, but for me, starting out, that was crazy. People were onto it. It's kind of a bummer they didn't keep going with this. I mean, obviously, where he's at now pays the bills big time, so I get it, but excellent Swedish stuff, thrashy death metal, well done, evil slant to it, excellent. What do you guys think? You've heard that one, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, they were early in the 2000s, kind of restarting the death metal scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing I was saying about that Funebrarum. It seems like one of the early bands to go back and kind of play like Member or something.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought I had a copy of that, and I went back and looked and tried to find. I can't find it. I swear I had it, but I don't.
Well, none of your stuff right now is easy to find. Your massive collection is mostly in boxes.
It's not that bad.
Oh, that would drive me absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, I've got the LP version. They put out a 7-inch picture disc 7-inch and the Hectacomp EP.
Mm-hmm.
I have all three of them here. Yeah, they were early on. That was when I was still into death metal.
Right. Okay, Jurgen.
Let's talk about sound again a little bit. I don't mind modern day death metal, but I'm not after that that much. But here in Germany, we've got a band called Sijin.
Yeah.
Angel of the Eastern Gate. That was a 3-song demo, and it sounded incredible. Musical-wise, it's nothing new. It sounds like early Morbid Angel, even pre Altars of Madness stuff. But it sounded so unique, and I loved the demo when it came out. Yeah. And I was afraid they announced the first full-length album, Sumerian Promises. And it sounded great as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know their singer and bass player Malte a little bit. He played in a band called Necros Christos.
Yeah.
Before. So that is the offshoot of Necros Christos, so to say. Necros Christos was more on the doomy side. This one is speedy, old school death metal, and it sounded just right. And Malte told me they recorded their stuff live.
Damn.
Yeah.
Marty,
Really?
you would love this stuff. Have you heard it?
I have not heard it. No.
Yeah. Killer.
They practiced, and they met in because this is an international band. They met in some little studio. There we go again. The room sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they recorded it in one room and just opened up the guitar solos and the vocals.
You're 100% not wrong on this way of thinking. I mean, think about, when I listen to, say Don't Break the Oath. People listen to that album.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about it much. You put it on, you listen to it. You don't know why it has an evil atmosphere to it. But if you really sit and listen to it, and same with Melissa, you can hear the room they're playing in, and it adds an extra evil atmosphere to it. It's not synthetic. It's not something they added in post. You can hear the room, and it's a thing. It adds ambience. It adds depth. It's part of it.
I've got the answer, Marty. In modern day productions, you can't hear the air moving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I said it earlier. A lot of newer death metal bands, you can hear. It sounds like you're inside a computer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm not skipping them this time. Damn it! All right.
Since Jay mentioned it in the chat, Misery, Evil Reborn. This is a 2-set with a lot of demos and EPs from Memento Mori. Didn't know of this band back in the 90s, but discovered them early 2000. And
looks like a comic book cover.
they have some really. This is kind of the style of the covers from their stuff, really. So, great Australian death metal. Kind of
like perverted and unhinged in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of that evil. Kind of a little bit wild, a little bit kind of the live feeling when they play. Just giving it all. So it's great band. I don't remember how many albums they have, but they have a couple of killer albums.
All right.
I picked up one of their albums in a used shop for a couple of dollars a couple years ago. I picked it up and I was like, I think I know what this is, but it looks terrible. I wouldn't buy this. But I saw that the Crypt was going to reissue it, and I was like, that's all I need to hear. I'm picking this up. It was an OG. It's absolutely intense. It's not that album. But I think.
I know the album you're thinking about, but they have some really good albums.
Yeah.
All right, Ben.
Me again. Well, we're going to Norway.
Yay.
And so much Bethsaida.
Bethsaida,
Yes. So Seasons of Mist 002 with 9 worlds. And then number 13, LXXVII. Really, really different band. They're most notable, I think, for having flute incorporated in most of their songs. I think it might be too much for most people who are really trying to be Hessian about it or whatever, but I think it's fun. I think it works. It's an interesting, challenging element to the band, but the riff style is really, really, really unique and different. I think the guitar and drum duo is just phenomenal. In fact, I can't remember if it's both the guitar player and drummer that are also in another band called Mist Enticer. And I really would like those demos that they did. But the vocals are really, really good. They're kind of a raspy, more almost like a thrashy kind of vocal. But they are death metal, but it's not like this stuff is violent or intense or crushing really at all. I think they're kind of going for more of like a progressive kind of weird sort of thing, which is why I
have a certain of atmosphere, kind of a bit atmospheric death metal in a way.
And they're kind of storytellers in a way. Which I think is kind of where the flute kind of makes more sense. But these are both full lengths. They did a shaped CD reissue of their demo, which I also have, and then that stupid, infamous Seasons of Mist versus War series that they did. But those are whatever. But these two full length are really, really, really special to me. So 9 worlds, and I don't know what the number is. Roman numerals numbers. Should be able to find these in used bins for $8, and they're so worth it.
All right, we're going to Slovakia, and I don't know if I've ever seen anybody show this band on the VC. Maybe I have. No, I don't think I have. But Depressy. With which one is this?
I've shown it.
Hey, Grand, you have? Okay. Grand Magnificence and Sighting. There's a couple albums after this. I have not heard them, but God, these albums crush. Absolutely crush. There's a little bit of a old Hypocrisy vibe, but I think these guys are a bit more interesting.
Agree.
I don't know. They're well produced. Heavy as hell. It's funny. This looks like a black metal record.
Yeah.
It's not. Totally not.
Best black metal album cover ever.
Yeah, it's totally like the best. But no, it's just really well done death metal. It's not really, very Fourth Dimension for sure. Before they got, where Hypocrisy turned more modern and stuff. That these guys are just They maintain a really good, solid old death metal. Hey, Mike, thanks a lot, man. You didn't have to do that. Thanks a bunch. But yeah, check if you can find these CDs online. Check them out or stream them. They're on the Spotify, but their new ones aren't, which is weird. And it's funny. I went to their Metallum page, and no one has reviewed their last 3 albums. So it's like people just don't seem to know about them or care. I don't know, but it's really well done death metal. Good European vibe to this stuff. It's got a darkness to it, which is cool. Excellent death metal. Check out Depracy, Grand Magnificence, and Sighting. Good shit.
Yeah. I picked this up maybe 2 years ago or so for maybe under $10 or so.
Right on.
Great pick, too. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Jurgen.
Hearing about that, maybe I should go to my eastern neighbors here in Germany and dig for some cheap CDs.
You should. Yeah, that'd be fun. You're not too far away from the border, are you?
Yeah, all those countries are about 1 hour to 3 hours from here.
Right. Nice. That's like us going to Grand Rapids. Hey, Gavin, thanks a bunch. Appreciate you. Thank you. Right.
So we were talking about the early new wave of death metal shit, and a band that was very early on in 2001 and 2002.
That album rules. That's a great record.
Their first record is pretty cool. I think
Thanks, Mike.
Lucifer Rising, their second album, is way superior. I think the sound is way better on that. And they reached their peak for me with their last EP.
Have not heard that one.
I really love that one. Leviathan's Scales of Leviathan, yeah, it's called. We played a lot of shows with them back then, so they are great. And at least for me, they are to blame, bringing me back to the death metal style.
Right. And those albums are produced so well. It's so like suffocatingly heavy. It's just mean and nasty sounding. Great. A wall of death metal. It's awesome. Doesn't sound like Incantation. Yeah,
a couple of the Karmos guys played when the Murderer came back.
The Finnish band.
John Nödvine.
Nödvine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were in Dissection?
Yeah.
Ah, right on. Okay.
So yeah. We talked about that a lot, yeah.
I'm sure there were interesting stories, huh?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Talk about that offline. Anyway,
I know the when Dissection came back, I know the tour manager, and okay.
Right on. Okay, Roger.
Yeah, I'm going to Sweden. It's more of a 2000 band, Aeon, with Aeon's Black. Swedish. It's kind of modern sounding death metal, technical, brutal in a way, but still have some. I don't know. It's not melody, but great leads and solos. I would say, kind of give them something different. I did see these guys play live, and they were playing together with Revocation and Cannibal Corpse, I think. And they played a song live where they kind of dropped the speed slowly. And they did it live, and it was fucking like jaw-dropping how good they were playing. Just great musicians, and really good discography. Evil sounding modern death metal.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that around. I may have heard it once or so.
Yeah, this is my favorite album by them, but kind of, yeah. They have a lot of. There's at least, I don't know how many albums they have released, but it's quite a few now. They've been active for like 20 years at least.
You know, it's funny. You mentioned, you know, one thing we've kind of come up with a bunch here going around is evil, sounds malevolent. Would you say that maybe this new, the OSDM, the old school death metal crowd, they don't get the evil? It's just, they're kind of focusing on brutal and maybe not going so evil? Because that seems to be kind of missing for me a little bit.
I think evil is the wrong word. It's more menacing.
Yeah. It's that's kind of wild, uncontrolled, a little bit like you just let go. I mean, not playing just riffs and do good guitar work. It's kind of the feeling that you bring to the music. It's kind of what some bands lack, but also a lot of the newer, younger dudes have got that energy. You know, I saw a snippet of a Danish band now, Nakkeknekker or Neckbreaker. They're kind of very savage live. You know, they are pouring it all out there and wild, unhinged, which is really cool. And a lot of the really young bands now have that kind of energy, I feel, as opposed to the mid 2000 bands, which were more kind of controlled and just good at playing, really.
Yeah.
You shared a couple of years ago Abhorration. Is that a Norwegian band, I think? Or is it Abhorrency? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Abhorration.
Looking forward to their full length, but those guys sound like they're having fun. They sound crazy. They sound like they're flipping across the walls in their studio, and I love the energy of that thing.
Yeah, I think the vocalist from Deathhammer plays bass in that band, and just to show how kind of wild it is. I mean, that's kind of the energy they have, and especially live, it's just, you know, full throttle. If they miss some notes, they doesn't care, you know, just go for it.
Man, I like that Deathhammer stuff. That shit is just kind of special. Totally fun. Thanks, Wade. I didn't mention it, but thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Roger, I've got a question for you. Do you know the band before Ion, Deface Creation?
Yeah, I have the albums, 2 albums or 1.
I think they had 1 album and 1 compilation of.
That might be. Yeah, I think I have two.
So
copies.
that is pretty much the same band.
Yeah.
All right, Ben.
This guy says we rule. How about that?
Thanks. Shucks. Shucks.
I didn't know that. So a U.S. band. We're going back to the East Coast with Burial, Enlightened with Pain. Dumb cover art. This is on Lost Disciple, which I think is a German label. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Lost Disciple?
Mm-hmm. No, was it? You're right. Sure. It was a German label. Yeah.
They had a lot of black metal stuff on there, which was really good. But a couple of little death metal releases peppered around here. In fact, I picked up that Enter Self on Monday last week. But this thing, you could kind of take some Suffocation vibes, a little bit of Dehumanized. But when they get violent and when they really get into the pocket and beat you upside the head, it is not recoverable. This stuff is absolute stabbing, bloody murder stuff. I've never heard anything like it. It's kind of pre-slam, but there's really nothing here that would sound really close to any of that annoying kind of breakdown kind of stuff. But East Coast sounding for sure, and just utterly violent stuff. Great drums, great production, great vocals. It's like, this is one of those bands where the vocals just sound like over and over and over, so that you can pay more attention to how insane the music is.
Right on.
Kind of spendy nowadays, now that I've been talking about it on my YouTube for a couple of years.
Okay. Man, I love this band, and I'm a big fan of the band that this band sprouted out of, being Divine Eve, but this is Crimson Relic, Purgatory's Reign. This is a West Coast band. It has Zan, what was his last name? Zan Hammock and Rhett Davis from Morgion. And what else is he's in Stygian Crown, Divine Eve, and Grave Hill as well. But this is it's Celtic Frost Worship, but it's way groovier, super heavy, almost stoner guitar tone on this thing. It's just, and Zan's vocals are always super sick. I don't know. This and Divine Eve, I think they're absolutely great. Did the Divine Eve even put out a full length? I think they just put out some splits and.
I don't think they did.
Let me see here. Let me click on. I'm curious now. Yeah, 2 EPs, a split, a couple demos. I mean, not very prolific writers, but he pulled it together enough to put out a full length here. Maybe it's a lot of Divine Eve material. They sound very similar to each other. So, Celtic Frost Worship, like I said, very groovy, so infinitely catchy and heavy. It's like a head nodding the whole time. It's great, great, great death metal. It just seems like they should have been huge. In fact, the logo even looks like the Morgion logo a little bit. So Rhett must have done the design for that as well. But absolutely killer album. A band that had the right sound. They had a good sound, and they just never really capitalized on it. Okay. Well, Europe, did that make it over to Europe? You guys heard all that stuff? Yep.
Yeah. No, but I have a reissue of it. Was it Dark Descent or something? Did a CD version, and as Rick said, Black Seed did a vinyl edition of it last year.
All right.
Thanks.
Jurgen.
Okay, Ben has got his pretty face in front of the flag behind him.
Yeah.
We're talking about Science. A lot of people agree that For Never Laid to Rest is a great album. A couple of less people know their second album,
Salt Rubbed Eyes.
Salt Rubbed Eyes.
Killer.
That is a weird one, but really nobody seemed to care about that one.
I liked it. I think it's good.
Great album.
It was a good comeback album.
Awakening of the Gods. Nobody seemed to care when they came back. Yeah. And it sounds old school. It sounds straight from the 90s. This one came out in 2009, I guess.
Yeah, or 10. 9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah. And the guys in the band were playing with Witchery and Satanic Slaughter.
Yep.
I got to know them a little bit because we played some shows with them. But the third and comeback Science album, Awakening of the Gods, if you haven't heard that and you like old school death metal, do check that one out. Old school production, old school songwriting.
Great production.
Mm-hmm.
It's very there's a lot of attack on that record, but the songs are so catchy. Like For Never Laid to Rest, it's kind of oppressive how brutal it is. And even Salt Rubbed Eyes, I mean, obviously the loud bass was kind of the calling card for that. I always dug it, though. I thought it was still a great record. They were a great band. 3 albums and none of them suck. They're all good.
Yeah. The hangout where I grew up always played the song Salt Rubbed Eyes.
Yep. Yep. So good. Drink.
I picked that up along with Demigods Let Chaos Prevail. And one of them is great and one of them is horrible. The Demigod. It's no shadow mechanics, but
all right. Okay.
Yeah, going to Finland with some more technical, slightly progressive Delirium's Order, Versum. Great band. I mean, these guys are technical, but they are kind of more, they don't play as fast. And and brutal in a way. They're more kind of the melody lines or kind of leads, not melodic at all, but great stuff. They started off a little bit more like the mid-era Behemoth on the 2 first albums, but then they just got into being way more technical and great songwriting and a really good band. Especially the last 2 albums are very, not extremely technical, but it's very technical and very well written songs without, it's not like arched by a tech death, but it's proper technical death metal. So yeah, just a band that I don't see a lot of people talk about. I don't know if they were kind of discarded because of the 2 first albums, that they were just, haven't checked out their newer stuff. But killer band, in my opinion.
The Finns out-Sweding the Swedes. That sounds like
All right. Ben.
Oh, I'm having a hard time picking. I got a lot of good stuff here. Gonna stick in the U.S. with Decrepit, Creation of Sin, compilation of demo material. They did it like a short, full-length, kind of long EP sort of thing, which was pretty awesome, but a little more in the black metal side of things. But this thing, God, if I could just pick, if I had to pick one release that really was emblematic of Midwest death metal, I think this would be it. The sound of it is absolutely perfect. It almost sounds like a live show, but it is exactly Midwest death metal. I love the pingy snare to it, just the tonality of it. It's got a really nice recording. $100. Yeah, so instead of getting that 7-inch for $100, which I do have right now here, get this CD. It's kind of pricey. It was out on Dismal Records, probably 96 or something like that. Needs a reissue for sure. That's why I keep talking about this band, so that somebody will pick this up and spread it to the right guy and send it to the presses. It's perfect. Any fans?
Yeah, I have a demo. That was always good. Sick.
Rules.
Did I see some horns over here from Jurgen on that?
No, it was just like,
oh, nope. I am Cornholio.
Put them up.
All right. Up next, this band, I mean, I guess I see why they were never bigger, but it bums me out they weren't, because they're so unique and special and great live. Chasm, Essentials to the Infraworld. I've seen these guys a bunch. Back in the day, I kind of got to know Daniel a little bit. Super, you want to talk about a guy, you cut him, he bleed metal. That's the guy. Totally the guy. Super nice dude. And the music is, talk about evil or menacing. This shit for death metal, it was just always special, unique, dark as hell. And I think one thing that was always kind of a sticking point for this is the production was never great. Kind of an underground, lo-fi type of sound. This album is not the case. They had some sort of a budget here. Under exclusive license from Dwell Records, Sempiternal Productions, which was a Chicago label. But, man, what a great special band. So good. All their stuff is awesome. Kind of bummed me out when they went instrumental for a minute, because I always really liked Daniel's voice. And I also really like Daniel Incantation as well. Diabolical Conquest, one of my favorite Incantation albums, and he's super sick on that. Didn't follow the Craig Pillard aesthetic totally. He made it his own, which is cool. But yep, Chasm, my favorite by them right here. I've liked everything, 100%.
Yeah, but the Chasm instrumental album is great as well.
It's really good, 100%.
Yeah.
But still, he's got such a great vocal. I want it there,
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be there.
Yep.
I love it as well, so all right.
Good shit. 100%. And I'm glad they're still doing stuff too. Their last album that came out, he's got vocals again. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to that Acerus LP?
Kellen just sent me with the stuff that Jurgen sent me. He sent me that Acerus, and it's really good. The riffing is awesome, and they have a good singer. It's awesome heavy metal shit. It's really good. All right, Jurgen.
Okay, staying in the US. Full length wise, I only like the Diabolic debut album, Supreme Evil. I think it sounds great. It has great songs. All which came after that sounds a little bit too processed for me.
Yeah, it sounds very clinical, the other albums.
Very artificial.
Yeah.
That one is great. And what I even love more is the demo City of the Dead.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest. After 93 demos that came out from the US, I really love it. I heard that the first time we were playing shows with Sinister, and Eric, who was singing in Sinister back then, he pulled me to his car and made me listen to that. So, yeah. So the Diabolic demo, you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's really a shame that I don't know why they produced the albums like they did. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the other albums musically, but it's just like very generic and overprocessed, as you said, kind of just destroy the whole feeling of the albums. I think
they kind of came out of Tampa at the wrong time, like after everybody had started paying attention to death metal outside of Tampa.
Yeah. Just look at him. Look at his face. And this is a really nice one because it's got the old demo covers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Doesn't sound like Incantation.
No.
No.
All right.
No hate to Incantation, but
I love Incantation, but yeah,
really aped band.
A lot of people gravitated towards that sound, and it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
All right, Roger.
Since Dan was asking, Dark Millennium. This is the demo stuff. Kind of a.
I was curious about that. Is that good stuff? I haven't heard it.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's kind of more, primitive, of course, than the more technical or whatever. But it's kind of a little bit raw. But you still hear that they have something going on. Sounds pretty good as well. So if you like the band, you should pick them up because I mean, it's kind of just. I love the demo stuff because it's so cool to hear the difference between. I know how they progress, just to get all the. So I do pick up a lot of demos just for the fun. Of course, they need to sound at a certain level. I don't want to pick up crappy sounding demos, but when they're done properly like this, this is out on Century Media anyway, so it's kind of yeah. I would if you like the band, you should pick up the demos as well. So
enough people has been showing that new one, and it makes me want to get it just sight unseen. I have so many people showing it.
Acid River is excellent. It's fantastic. It was my top pick for that year. So
I would say, Marty, start with this one, and you will
just work your way through it because it's. I mean, they're all good. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Marty, you like? It doesn't sound the same, but it has got a little bit of the same vibe as Morgoth Cursed.
Oh.
It has the same vibe. It's totally different, but it has the same vibe.
Oh, I can get behind that. Yeah.
And I think the vocalist sounds unhinged, out of his fucking mind.
And he still does. He still does to that day. I've seen them live a couple of times in more recent years, so they are still a great live band. They've got a jazz drummer. Again, we come back to the jazz again.
Yep.
And it's just very, very impressive to see them live.
Right on.
Even
Wait,
if you don't know the songs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're very technical, skilled, and kind of It's just the last album is so kind of diverse, but it's fantastic. And of course, some people might get thrown off about the very intense vocals on it, but I just kind of love it.
Just adds a level of intensity that you don't really hear.
Yeah, exactly, because the music is kind of a little bit more floating, and you get that insanely aggressive, angry, snaring vocals on it.
Oh, Marty, I've got a tip for you. If you want to dig into the Dark Millennium catalog, skip their second album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the new one everybody's showing on a couple distros. It'd be easy to snag, so I might do that just to check it out. Go from there, I guess.
You'll love it.
All right.
And yeah, Wade was asking if he liked the debut. Would he like Acid River? Hey, totally. They don't skip a beat from there to there.
Okay. Ben,
My turn.
your turn.
All right, let's go over to Czechia with Lycathia Aflame,
Yeah.
Elvenefriz. What a bizarre trip this is. I think if you kind of took something like None So Vile era Cryptopsy, mix it with a little bit of Niles, sort of Egyptian, sort of Mesopotamian kind of. I know I'm culturally mixing eras very terribly here. But it has a lot of weird instrumentation, and they do a lot of techie guitar work kind of stuff that kind of noodles over the top of their already technical barrage. It is nuts. I think they're kind of like a duo that just like did spend a whole lot of time together working on this material. I think the cover art's kind of whatever. But what a weird barrage of insanity. If you're interested in something crazy, insane.
Yeah.
There's some live footage of these guys out there that is just bonkers. It's impossible to believe how they're pulling this stuff off and just playing it like this is how I play the song. Check it out. But, yeah, hard to find. It's easier to find it on vinyl, I think, than CD, honestly. It didn't come out on vinyl until a couple years later, and I'm having a hard time remembering when this actually originally came out. Maybe 01 or so.
2000s. I think it was just 2000. I don't remember.
That sounds about right. Yeah, 2000. Only thing they ever did. 26 reviews on Metal Archives for a 91%. There.
Wow.
They also released an album under the name
Appalling Spawn.
Appalling Spawn, yeah, which is pretty good as well. So
Yeah, I have that up here too. That one's a little less weird.
It's
I
more-
think.
yeah, it's more kind of just brutal, technical, straightforward in a way, but that's Lycathia is pretty damn far out sometimes.
And I didn't find out about it until Paul from Incantation was posting some kind of goofy meme thing on Instagram. And I was like, I don't know that album in particular. And wormhole, here I am. Nuts. Really cool.
All right. Well, I don't know how big this band really got. It was on Relapse during the heyday of Relapse, and I always loved this record, especially the first song. And I'm talking about Dawning by Mind Rot.
Yeah.
Talk about bands doing something a little bit different. I mean, they're taking basically a very heavy kind of, well, it's an American death metal sound, but it's not the brutal stuff. It's just more organic sounding. Then they mix a bit of a Fields of the Nephilim vibe with it. They got the clean Carl McCoy type of singing on the first track, Dawning, or no, Anguish, I think it is actually. But super brutal death vocals, and then he goes into these gothic, downtrodden, warbly type of vocals. Sounds like Carl McCoy in a lot of ways, but Apparently, I sent the second album to Alan back in the day. I don't remember. He said you got it from me. I don't remember doing that, but I must not have liked that as much as this one. I kept this one, got rid of the second one. So, but this is a sound I would have liked to hear them purvey a little bit further down the road. But 2 albums and done. What are you going to do? Did they break up? I'm assuming they did. Yeah.
I always remembered that Forlorn EP being just a little bit better than that full length.
You know what? I don't know that I ever heard that. The 3 songs aren't on the album. I may have to check that out. I'm sure it's available around somewhere. But yeah, Mind Rot, Dawning. If you like Fields of Nephilim mixed with death metal, give it a try. Good stuff. Interesting stuff.
I never really thought of it that way. That's interesting, yeah.
Jurgen.
The Mind Rot album sparks a lot of memories for me. When it came out in Europe, it came out through, I think Nuclear Blast was distributing the record. When we first got it, we always drove to the woods with our big water pipe.
I was going to say, did you do a line of coke off of someone's Western hat?
No. We were just in the woods, smoking a lot of weed and blasting that album. I don't know. It to me it has, when you listen to it now, you can sense the urbanness in some way.
Yeah, I feel it too.
Yeah.
It's a very honest album.
Yeah, Orange County, California. So yeah.
Hey, Eric.
So okay, this next one is gonna be pretty short. The band has got some albums out in after the 2000s, but that doesn't count. Their first 2 demos.
That's really good. The demos are awesome. Yeah.
Evocation from Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a compilation of the first 2 demos brought out by Merciless Records out of Germany. That is all you need from the band. Their debut album is kind of okay.
It's okay.
I like it, but yeah.
It's a rehash of the old Left Hand Path sound.
Yeah.
But if you want to go back to the early 90s, their first 2 demos, I think Nuclear Blast brought out the new demos as a reissue as well with a different cover. But this is the first one. And I've got a nice memory. When Evocation came back, I'm sorry, I have to tell that again. We played a show together. And I befriended with their original guitarist, Marco Palmen. And he was so excited to see a Sabbat from Great Britain that night. So we befriended, we had a couple of beers, and we watched Sabbat together.
Awesome. Was Sabbat good?
They were always a brilliant live band, yeah.
Yeah.
As good as the first 2 albums.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
I got to play Dreamweaver tomorrow.
Oh, so good. So good.
I have a funny Evocation memory, too. I might be not doing this right, but when I met Tanner from Obsequiae, it was because Marty sent boxes of his distro with Tanner to bring to a festival, and in that was the Evocation demo re-release. And Tanner drew up on this piece of paper, he drew this cat. He draws cats very, very well.
He does, yeah.
And he wrote...
He's an amazing artist. Amazing.
He really is, yeah. And he drew a cat that was telling everybody, buy the Evocation demos, you posers! And he hung it above the table.
Yeah. Yep.
My guy.
Yep. All right. Roga.
Molested, Bloddraum.
Awesome.
Yeah, just a fucking brutal, vicious... again, unhinged. It's very untypical of Mr. Brun to create something like this when you look at Borknagar, because this is so far from Borknagar as you can get in metal, I think. It's kind of, it does have that live feeling. The recording, it's just not slick produced. If you listen to Stormwald, the EP is way more produced and kind of cleaned up, but this is just a dirty, fantastic. I did see somebody Gavin was talking about this earlier on in the chat. So yeah, this is a double reissued, signed copy that I picked up.
Did he tell you to stay heavy or something like that in the Roga? Stay heavy.
Stay heavy.
Keep it sick. Anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that they didn't continue with this project, but I understand that he wanted to do black metal instead. So yeah, Stonewall is killer as well. So
I have a bootleg of that.
But he was I talked to him, before the Stonewall. I talked to him at the pub, the big metal pub in Bergen, and he was very, very ready for continuing with Molested, but he had a black metal project coming up. He was kind of saying so, but it felt like, this was the main project, but it flipped very soon after.
I think they probably threw that first Borkengar out just for funsies. I mean, there was so many collaborations back in that day, but it took off. People saluted it. Oh fuck, we're getting more reaction. So yeah,
it got so popular that he decided to go for that, and they have been pretty successful. So
pretty good. Yeah.
I always wondered about that Molested. It sounds so vicious production-wise, and it almost sounds like an accident. I wondered if did they intend for it to sound so gnarly?
I don't know how they kind of, if it just was going to studio and just play the songs and just blast through them. It's almost like a one take in a way, at least song by song. But yeah, I really don't. It's self-produced together with a engineer, so I just think that's what I wanted to do. So, or it was kind of a money question, of course. How many hours can you spend in a studio back then? So
I mean, it's nasty, but I feel like if bands could pay to sound like that now, they probably would.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of just a very nice feel to the sound of it. I just love it.
Yeah.
So we are going back to my theory. If an old production of treasured bands we love sounds like an accident, it probably sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Another German band who did that right was for a period of time was Bethlehem.
Yeah.
It always sounded like an accident.
That's the best way.
Well, you want another German band that had like the early Morgoth shit, the Resurrection Absurd, and that whole era. Those two EPs they put together, very live sounding record. I mean, it doesn't sound overproduced to me. It sounds raw and heavy, and like you're kind of in the room watching a band rip it up. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. That's because they recorded it locally in an unknown studio. They remixed it in Morrisound Studios, but if you haven't recorded at Morrisound, you don't get the Morrisound studio sound.
True. Yeah. 100%. No triggers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ben.
Okay. I think these guys have kind of starting to get a little bit more attention looking back. A lot of that is thanks to Devin from Sanguis Sugarbog. He wears an Eternal Suffering hoodie a lot, and I think that works for them a lot. But anybody remember these guys?
Yeah.
They kind of came too late to really pick up much steam with this kind of thing. It's kind of an East Coast suffocation-y kind of thing, but the production on this thing again sounds really, really punchy. Everything is panned really, really hard, and they're doing this kind of like romantic gothic sort of topics. The lyrics are really poetic and stuff about love and lost in romances and drowning in
Gothic
stuff.
boobies.
Yeah, gothic movie stuff. And they also used samples. I think they overused samples on this a bit. But this one has stood the test of time and goes for a ton of money these days because it crushes. I remember I was friends with these guys back when Wayne was in this band, and still am to this day. And he used to send me joke boxes of stuff. He would go to Walmart and he would buy 25 different things that were under $1 and just throw them in a box and send them to me. It's just jokes to one another. And one time he threw in 5 copies of this for me. And luckily I hung on to one of them because I wish I had 5 more of them because they're going for $200 or $300 these days. It's going to be a painful episode to watch for people because if they add this stuff to their Discogs wish list, it's not going to be pretty. But check this thing out. Slams before slams sucked, I guess I should say.
Well, I've got a slammy band in here too, which I'm surprised I pulled, but I did anyway.
He also sent me a copy of that Gutted album because he thought it was a piece of shit. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Oh, that's good. That's good groovy shit. Good stuff. What's up, TJ? All right. Well, I guess I'm stuck in California right now, but oh my God, I can't read it. Oh, my eyes. Oh yeah. Distorting the Mortal Visage by Sepsism.
Oh yeah.
This band rules. You know, you look at the covers, you see the name of the band. I've got their demo, and it's just like a complete. It's just a torso propped up against a blue. It's really grotesque. And you think, oh, these guys are just going to be standard brutal. You know what? I had that CD and I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. It makes me angry. Anyway,
rules.
These guys are brutalish, but there's a lot of grind on here. There's a lot of energy. There's a punk aesthetic to it too, a little bit mixed in. But I've always liked these guys. They're really solid, well done American death metal, but they don't lean fully into the bree. The vocals are, very mid-range, but deep and not deep, but they're more mid-range, but just really sick sounding and well written, heavy. It's very California sounding to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Without
Disgorge kind of.
Yeah, in the Disgorge realm, but not really going that sick. There's a grind element here that can't be. You can't overlook it. It gives them something a little bit different. This is on Severed Records, which is all known for the slams and stuff. But
yeah,
I'd say check them out. Sepsism, they've been around for a while. I don't know if they're even still together. Are they still together? Split up. So they put out 3 full-length albums and 3 demos in 1 split. So
yeah,
good stuff.
What do you think about them? So I bought this maybe a couple of years ago, and it rules. But I was talking to a friend of mine / coworker who grew up in the LA metal scene around Possessed and Slayer and stuff way back in the day, and he mentioned Sepsism, and I was like, "You mean like that newer kind of techie slammy band or kind of something?" And I hadn't realized that those guys go like way back, and they have demos from 92 and 93, 94, but didn't get around to recording a full length until 99. And that's just kind of right where I feel like I'd be surprised if something good came out right after that or whatnot. But the demos are also pretty good and have songs from that debut, which is this. Sick pick.
All right, Jurgen.
So I saw TJ just mentioned Body Farm. Body Farm are a death metal band from Holland, the Netherlands. Let's dive a little bit deeper in the Dutch scene. So I think everybody knows that one. Mindless is a great album.
Oh yeah.
The one that came after that,
Perfection.
Falls.
Yeah.
It's where we got our namesake.
Yeah. It's a Perfection. A little bit later on, we've got bands like God Dethroned.
Yeah.
The first one was a death metal classic. Later on, they leaned a little bit more towards the blackened death metal stuff, a lot of blast beats. Pestilence, of course. Pestilence Offshoot, Hail of Bullets, their first demo, great stuff. But nobody seems to talk about Acrosticon. Engraved
I don't
in
own
black.
any Acrosticon. Wait a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I've always been to pick that up.
I bought that one when it came out, and it was such a special record for me. It's got female vocals, but you won't be able to figure out it's female vocals. So I don't know if you like Ball Thrower, you may like it, but it's way harsher. This has got such a special sound. I don't know. Have anybody heard that one?
Yeah, I picked up a reissue of it. I don't remember when that came out, but some years back. But yeah, it's a great album. I didn't know of it back in the days at all. So
yeah, they did a reissue with 3 or 4 skull figures on it.
Yeah.
Cool. I need to get that. I've been looking at that for years and wondering what it sounds like.
I don't have it. I thought I had something by that band, but I don't.
They had a 7-inch before that also rules, but unfortunately I don't have that. The original Acrosticon stuff is pretty hard to get. So.
Oh, I bet. Seen a lot of good suggestions in the chat all night long. It's good to see you guys get it and know what's up.
Yeah, sticking with the same country, Supreme Pain. With Nemesis Enforcers have Ad from Sinister on vocals.
Oh yeah,
just a killer. They released just 3 albums, but they're all bangers in my opinion. Some of the Ad's best vocals ever is done on these albums. And I thought we needed some tits on the show, so
Always a definite bonus.
So it's just kind of in the vein of Sinister, I would say, but a lot of it has to do with the vocals, of course. Very charismatic, and those vocals he had at this period is fantastic. Now the later Sinister album, he's gone deeper and tried to be more brutal, but it doesn't work as good as his kind of heydays. But just 3 killer albums. They released in the mid 2000, around 2010. Probably. I don't remember. This is If My Eyes Can See. No. But yeah.
Roger, speaking of Sinister Offshoots, do you know Howitzer?
Yeah. I have a couple. At least the first album, maybe the second.
Yeah, the first 2 are pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ben.
All right. I'm sure you guys are going to recognize this cover art. It's not what you think. Agony with Apocalyptic Dawning. Not Blood Incantation. Canadian Quebecois band, actually. Very much along the lines of Cryptopsy. But they have kind of a cannibal. You know how Cannibal Corpse kind of sounds like you're using motorized instruments to churn through guts, if you will. That kind of quality applies here, and I absolutely love that about it. It's got a real heft to the bass drums. Am my audio cutting out at all?
I made a little glitch, but it's fine.
Okay. But yeah, I highly recommend this stuff. It is brutal, and like I said, using a chainsaw to cut through guts, that's the way your drums should sound, right? And it has the bonus 93 demo on it. Yeah, killer stuff. The vocalist is maybe even as, I don't know, what's a good word to describe Lord Worm's vocals? They're just like filthy, right? This guy like really matches that too. So they're kind of aping Cryptopsy, but that's not always a bad thing, right? Apocalyptic Dawning. Yeah. So I guess Blood Incantation. I would imagine they knew about that album and just said, you know what, let's get a hold of that artist and use it a little bit better.
Sorry to hear that, Ryan. Hope you're doing okay. Condolences to you and your family. It sucks.
Oh, sorry, Ryan, you're the best.
Hang in there. All right. Well, you want to talk about Sinister Offshoots? I showed this on Wednesday for a minute, but Weapons to Hunt with Blessed in Sin. Early members of Sinister got together to do this. It's in the old Sinister vein. Kind of busy, but well-written death metal. Really well done. Awesome. Yeah, they put out one record. It was kind of a one and done deal. They couldn't keep it rolling for some reason, but excellent. I was quite impressed with this. Really technical, but catchy, just like the early Sinister. So check out Weapons to Hunt.
It's a little bit in the same vein as Supreme Pain. It's kind of a little bit the same stuff.
Right on.
I've been listening to demos from a band called Pathology, which features the lady singer from Sinister. She used to be in that band.
Rachel.
Yeah. Great stuff.
All right. Jurgen.
All right. Let's go local to me. We used to share a practice room with a band. I don't know if you heard about them, but the band is called Dead. They were one of the first really, really sleazy, political incorrect. They don't get me wrong; they are not right-wing or something like that. But PC back then included, their first single.
Wow, crazy artwork.
Oh, I remember that logo. Okay.
Yeah. So these are friends of mine. We shared a practice room together. Their second single has got a cover like that.
Yes.
And it's called Slaves to Abysmal Perversity. And these were really, really young dudes. They are in my age now, kind of. And they released a couple of. They are still active. We played a lot of shows with them. And their last 7-inch before their first album was called "Wanted for Kinky Sessions."
Yeah.
And they played a lot of G.G. Allen cover songs. So yeah, I love them. My ex-wife is a working colleague of the drummer.
I just noticed that Wanted for Kinky Sessions is Fulter 001.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Great label.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. If you want to complain, write to this address. Danny is to blame for all of that shit.
Hilarious cover art on that.
The one without the girlfriend has the most twisted ideas, right? That should be on a t-shirt. I know a guy.
Yeah.
All right. Roga.
Yeah, no, an album I loved a lot. You know, it's infested to the depths of degradation. This was kind of impossible to get hold of. This is a reissue by Crusader production over in France, I think. Just a evil death metal, dirty, from '94, I think. I did write to Moribund, the label, and I got a CD. I have an original CD without the cover, so they just had a CD laying around. So I got
Odin.
that.
Yeah,
yeah. So
I've done that before too. Yeah, any laying around? Yeah, actually, $5.
so it's kind of just a killer album. I just love the evil or kind of vicious, hateful in a way, blasting of it, and pretty dirty sounding as well. I don't know how well this is known, in the wild, but yeah, great album. I think it was reissued on vinyl as well.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Oh, this White Claw's giving me heartburn from hell tonight. Oh my god.
Take omeprazole, my man.
Let it burn. Anyway.
No. This got reissued a couple years ago, but it sold up immediately, and both go for a pretty penny. But anybody heard of Scythe Undead Infantry?
Nope.
No.
California band, criminally underrated. So they kind of redid the artwork, but it is quite similar to the original. Features members of Deeds of Flesh, drummer from Deeds of Flesh, Brad Palmer. But it's very, very brutal, technical, but even kind of sometimes lays off the technicality, but stays really, really speedy and sounds almost black metalish sometimes. And I thought that was kind of like just something I was noticing, but they're actually listed as a blackened death metal band. So I don't know. I don't feel like the black metal aspect is really all that overt at all, but that's really where that comes from. I think sometimes they just get so fast and speedy that they just kind of simplify some of their riffing and just kind of slam or blast down on a power chord with some harmonies over it. And they're kind of melodic sometimes. Really, really interesting kind of thing. I think this reissue was limited to like 300 copies or something. Yeah, 333.
What's up, Justin? Hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah. Malignancy. That's a good comparison, I think. I don't really know much about Malignancy, but I can see that. Or like Iniquity. Any fans of that?
Yeah.
But I think I found this because of Pete the Guttural Monk. Yeah, that's it. Miss you, buddy.
All right, I'm up. Okay, I don't have any idea how big this band was in Europe, but just for this album alone, Extreme Hatred by Hypnosia, why wasn't this band enormous? I mean, modernized early Creator is what this always kind of struck me as. A little faster, a little more savage around the edges. Always awesome. I don't. Were they bigger? Seriously, Roger, I don't know. Were they huge over in Europe? I
would say they were. That release got a lot of attention, but I don't know how big. I know it, so should a lot of other people. But yeah, but I kind of at least the last 5 years I've seen it a lot shown in the metal community, but I felt it was pretty well known back then. But it's hard to say really because if it's just me.
Right. No, it's one of those bands that always blew me away, and they truly get the old school vibe. They totally nailed it down and brought it into a modern era for the year it came out, without screwing it up.
Yeah. Rules.
Jurgen went and grabbed something too. What do you got to show?
Yeah, Hypnosia, the old stuff that has been compiled on that one.
Yeah,
I've seen them in 2000 when they played live at a festival in Germany, and they were awesome.
Yep.
So,
are they still active?
They turned into
No. The vocalist went on to Dreadful Fates, kind of similar style, but a little bit more black metal. Yeah, so that's kind of. I think they might be still active, but.
Yeah, and I think their original lead singer, he died.
Yeah.
And the lead guitar player went on to be in a band called Bullet. That is pretty much in the AC/DC Accept vibe.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very brutal.
Wasn't one of the dudes from Dismember in that Bullet too?
No.
I'm thinking of a different band then. Okay.
I love that Hypnosis so much that I bought a Bullet CD on eBay used without ever hearing it. And it came with a letter in it, and it was written by a member of the band that said, "Hey, I hope you're doing good. I hope you like my new band. Hope you check it out. I hope you like it. Let me know." So apparently they just hawked it on eBay because it sucked so much. I still have that letter.
Right on. Okay, Jurgen, what you got?
I'll be talking about a band I don't know anything about, but I bought the 2 records when they came out. You never read any interviews?
Yeah!
Darth Vader's Church. Yeah.
Such a unique sounding record. Again, you can feel the air moving when you're listening to that. They even recorded a second album.
I only have the first one.
Molecular Shadows. So these 2 came out in Germany as an underground release. I bought that one just because of the cover and the band name.
Yeah.
And it blew me away. They got a little bit more technical on that one, but after that, hey, nobody talks about that band.
I honestly haven't listened to that CD in ages, so I probably should pull that off and throw it on and give it a spin, because I remember it being pretty crushing, brutal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty weird, too.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, and of course, I still got my original one.
That one hasn't hit the pile yet, right? The cell pile?
I just pulled it out of the cell pile. No. They won't go anywhere.
Right on. Good pick. I haven't thought about them in a while, for sure. What you got?
Oh. And in Germany, they came out on the Steamhammer label.
Oh.
If you didn't know that. So
I think the name held them back a whole lot.
And the logo.
Yeah. Nasty stuff, though.
All right. Roger.
Going to Greece, 2012. Resurgency and False Enlightenment. Kind of a little bit towards sinister in a way, I would say. In that era of death metal, really good. Didn't care so much for the 2012 album, but this is a killer album. Played this a couple of days ago, and just it really has that kind of Netherlands sound, I would say. So if you like the other Netherlands bands we have shown today, you should check out Resurgency as well. Pretty cool cover as well, even though it's a bit dark. I don't know how.
Yeah, cool stuff. All right, Ben.
Well, I've got about 8 picks left here, but killer ones. I played this in a video, my last video, I believe. Pretty underknown, but Ceremony were from Ohio, maybe. But So this is where the Morbid Angel got Steve Tucker.
Mhm.
And also Pat O'Brien went to Cannibal Corpse. So it sounds quite a bit like both Morbid Angel and Cannibal Corpse, honestly. This is just a 4-song EP that was released in '93 on tape, and Hammerheart reissued it. And they should have added the demo on here because the demo is also very good, but it's not. It's more of a thrash metal demo than this death metal stuff. Yeah, cover art. Why would you ever buy this?
Why would that be okayed? Why would that be in band meeting? Like, here's our art. Like, oh, dude, sick. No, it's not. It's not good.
I would take AI art over this crap.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just type in pukes and blood and skulls and whatever. That would be fine.
I was messing around with the AI art today before deciding on what I went with for the thumbnail, and everything looked like a Kerry King or a Deicide cover.
Yeah. But this stuff crushes it. If they would have done a full length of this stuff, it would have been right there along with tons of other. I mean, it sounds quite like Tampa-ish, but it would have been a really, really big. If this would have been on like Relapse in '94 or '96 or something like that, it would have been huge. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, cover art is inexcusable. Shite.
They have done private press. I don't know if it was just a burn CD, but when Morbid Angel played the first gigs with Tucker, we supported them on some shows, and they sold that one as I don't know if it was a CDR or something like that, but they sold the ceremony demo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it like? Do you have it?
I had it, but it's long gone. That was 1998 when I bought it. I think that was when Formula's Fatal to the Flesh came out. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So they have a demo 92, which is self-titled, and it's pretty much thrash, but it's great. But then the demo 2 is way more death metal.
Mm-hmm.
And the last track on it is called Frug Nuts / Fart Song.
Awesome.
It's 40 seconds long. Just fuck off with that. Come on.
All right. Well, Ben saved this so I could show it. He could have showed it, but we're going to the Chicago area and some of Ken's buddies. And actually, one of the guys from this band is in Ken's band Unnatural with him. But we're talking about Morgue, Eroded Thoughts. And actually, I believe old Uncle Ken took that band photo too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But this album rules. I have the original tape sitting over there. I got this cheap off eBay. It's got a cut corner, so it's a promo. But this album rules. Always has. They sounded unique. They didn't sound like every other death metal band. They're not super low-tuned or overly brutality of the day. They're just very well written. Some thrashy elements here and there creep into it, even though it's very much Midwestern style death metal. I've always thought this album rules. They put out they're a one and done band. They put out 2 demos and this. Yep. And it's kind of a bummer because it would have been cool to hear where they went after this. But yep, came out on I'm assuming that's grindcore. My eyes are shot.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent stuff. Excellent Midwestern death metal. If you're not familiar, people in the chat, check out Morgue, Eroded Thoughts. Excellent. Well done, unique stuff.
Got reissued on vinyl pretty recently, but very, very limited, and I never even got a copy of it. And I've been in love with that album since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of like nice bouncy galloping kind of riffs with some kind of fun harmonizations going on. Really different.
Yep. All right. Jurgen.
I'm still preparing.
You want me to put Roger first? We'll do that. There you go.
Okay, we have to take a little trip to Chile. And this is a kind of long-running band, but it's only released 3 albums. It's Inanna. With a void of unending depths. Just great. It is technical, but it's kind of very subtle technical. Bass playing here is fucking awesome. Vocally as well. Great song structures on it. They spent 10 years making this album, so it should be good. But this came out in 22, and the previous album was 2012, so it's kind of a long way towards this album. But it's just a killer. Technical. It's slightly technical. It's not over technical, and it's a little bit progressive. Mostly, kind of the bass playing here. It's very upfront, and a lot of the Chilean bands have awesome bass players that really plays the bass, not just doing like rhythm and bass as a lot of other bands. But yeah, killer band. If you haven't heard this, go and check them out. All the 3 albums are great, but this is their best in my opinion. But yeah,
I'll pick that up. Simon freaks out about that band.
yeah, but it's killer, and again a band that I feel should have been bigger, but it doesn't help when you kind of release 3 albums during 20 plus years. So
All right, Jurgen.
All right, let's talk about some friends of mine from Denmark. Has anybody heard of the band called Ill Disposed?
Yeah.
yes,
Their album Submit is a pure death metal classic for me. It's not fast. It's down-tuned. It's chuggy. It's got some kind of modern tinge to it. After that, they got an album, There's Something Rotten in the State of Denmark. Great title. They did a cover of Wake Up Dead on here, which is pretty much their own song. Yeah, love that. After that, they did an album called Cocainum. Do you remember when what is that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? He found some cocaine in a prosthesis of the amputated Russian dude, and he says cocainum.
Simon, to set you straight, Red Heat. It was in Red Heat.
Yeah, Red Heat, right. After that, they did 1-800 Vindication, and that is a classic to me. Put out in 2005. It's a very, very modern death metal. Is it even death metal? I don't know. If you don't know it, just check it out. I can't describe the music, but I really, really love that band.
Why would they change their logo? Their logo is pretty cool. Why would they go to that stupid font? God, I hate that.
pretty brutal vocals as well.
Because that one came out on Roadrunner Records, and they tried to sell a lot of copies.
Right?
You got a lot of humor in their titles, and they have a ton of albums. Holy crap.
They have a ton of albums. And like I said, they are friends of mine. We went on tour with them. They came over here for barbecue, and yeah, they are just a bunch of drunk dudes. I had so much fun. One time, just a short story. I put them up from the airport one day, and the singer's got a cast on his arm, and I asked him, "Hey, Bo, what the fuck did you do?" And he said he went into a police raid, and the police was asking him why his lights on the car didn't work, and he said, "It will work soon." And he slammed his He just
Thought he was the
slapped
Fonz.
the light and cut his arm all open.
And did the light work.
And we on tour we used to beat each other up like crazy. Yeah, bleeding noses all over there.
I don't know if that sounds like much fun, but whatever.
It was fun.
German steel. Fists of steel. Fists of fury. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Ben.
All right, over to Finland. I think these guys are decently well known, but it's really, really worth bringing this band up. Slagathor!
Oh,
Circle of Death. I think this is Finland's bolt thrower, kind of.
Yeah.
But it has a little bit more of a experimental kind of spaciness sort of thing to it.
Super heavy. Super heavy.
The tone is so perfect. And I thought for a while that this had a drum machine, but I don't think it is. It's a real drummer, right?
I think it's a real drummer, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I could look it up real quick.
It's just like very, very tight sounding drums. It's not technical whatsoever. It's just all about like thundering, machinated tonality, just brutalizing you into the walls. They have a lot of good albums, but this is kind of, if you only pick one Slagathor album, I think this is the one most people would agree is the one you need. This is a reissue. I do like the cover on the one you have more, but
yeah, this is an obliteration record. Oh wait, no, Time Before Time. Yeah,
and this is on Drakkar. But is there a better death metal band name than fucking Slagathor?
Echoes from Beneath is another one I have. It's really good. Really super, super heavy.
I got a couple of them too. I thought maybe you guys might have already picked that by now, but I thought I would throw it out there.
It's on my pile, but we're getting down to the end here, so it's good now that we're doubling up a little bit.
Yeah.
Marty, did you skip Roga again?
No, he went first before you. Because you were still compiling your shit.
I'm sorry, I'm getting drunk.
Perfect.
Don't be sorry.
All right.
Don't be sorry. Never be sorry. It's all good. All right. Let's go to Sweden. Uncanny, Splenium for Nyctophobia.
Yeah.
I always liked this album a lot. And this is a reissue on Dark Descent and The Crypt. Cheers to Ted for keeping some of these old classics alive. I have an old CD of this, but I had to get I liked it so much I had to buy the reissue. And again, another Swedish band that, why weren't they bigger? Again, right place, right time, good sound, good songs. All of it. This is, I thought there was demo shit on here. There's not.
I think they did a separate LP of just demo stuff.
I think you're right. But yeah, very good. Very excellent Swedish death metal. It's not reinventing any wheels. Probably why. I mean, there was so many bands during this time that all were suckling from the same teat for sure. But they did a good job. Good songwriting. Excellent sound. It's well produced. Very much a product of its time, and it's good stuff. It's kind of weird that they weren't bigger.
I have never managed to pick up a copy of that.
All right. Jurgen.
All right, this next one is going to be from Sweden again. These guys pulled out a lot of records, and I don't like any of them because most of them has drum computers. But in the early 2000s, Centinex pulled out Hell Brigade. And that is a very, very special record. I don't know. Just listen to the song, what is it called? Emperor of Death. I am the Emperor of Death, a tribute slayer from the past. Such a great record. I think the CD should be readily available. They didn't sell that much. Their early stuff maybe a little bit more cultish, cultish. um, I don't know. This one got way overlooked. So Hell Brigade by Sentinex. Just to keep it short.
Killer band. I always forget about those guys.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that band in 100 years. I know they had drum machines for a while, then they got a real drummer at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were from Stockholm, but apparently not. They kind of sound like it.
No, not really. They emerged from a band called Internet.
I like that band. That's a
stuff
good band too.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the old demos, and after the Internet demos, their bass player just started Sentinex.
Huh.
I didn't know that. That internment, I've been trying to nail down a copy of any of their stuff for a while now.
All right, Roger.
Yeah, we talked about, bad logos, and this is a long-lasting German band, probably the longest-lasting death metal band in Germany. He's still active. Unique sound and Disbelief. This is Ground Collapses. They have a very unique style of riffs. It's kind of a little bit, sludgy in a way, but not sludge. I hate sludge metal, but it's kind of dragging the riffs and killer vocals. The vocalist did the vocals for the comeback album for Morgoth.
Ungod, yeah.
Yeah, Ungod album, and did a great job there. Did see them live with Morgoth, but I haven't seen Disbelief, but I think that would be a great band to see live. I think it's just two of the members left now on the new album, the vocalist and maybe the bass player. Yeah.
Joey.
So it will be interesting to see if that kind of changes a little bit of the band's sound, but I don't see anybody talk about this band. They have been very consistent in quality, in my opinion, and very unique sounding. There's no band sounding really like this, guys, in my opinion. And I think they started in 90 or something.
Yeah.
So been going strong for a lot of years, but not kind of a band that ever have been any big. I think they just, I don't know if it's a logo or kind of.
The logo doesn't really draw you in at all.
No, it's very, very 90s looking or early 2000s looking.
Yeah, but the logo has been the same ever since.
Yeah. That's kind of weird because I don't remember when the first album came out, but mid 90s, and they had that logo, and it was kind of looking more like new metal, really. So anyway,
I think Disbelief could be described as a mix of Neurosis and death metal.
That might be. I don't like Neurosis, but I see your point. It's kind of that.
They've got that dragging style, and they've got the really, really unique vocals.
Yeah,
the vocals are a little bit like the Obituary vocals by John Tardy, a little bit. They've got a really, 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 really unique style. Yeah, those are friends of mine as well. They are from around the corner. In their singer, that has always been the singer, he stepped down after the second album, and I auditioned for them.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Are you playing in any bands now?
No, not anymore. I'm approaching my 50s, so
retired.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Marty's pulling it off somehow.
Trying.
Maybe I'm gonna start a grindcore band with my Bodies in Dead.
There you go. Have pictures of people pooping on each other on your cover. That'd be great.
Yeah, just let me get a little bit more drunk.
All right. Roger just went. Ben.
It is I. All right, this is
Talk a minute. I have to go urinate. I'll be right back.
Oh, jeez.
I know. Stupid girly drinks I'm drinking. It's making me have to pee.
Hell yeah.
Yet talking about pooping and urinating, yeah.
So this is a really, really hard to track down demo tape. I've been making myself bootlegs out of stuff. It's just easier. I don't like playing tapes at all. And stuff is just impossible to find sometimes. And there's just really no comparison for like holding it in your hand. Anyways, this is a Quebecois band called Medieval. Horrible cover artwork. 32 minutes long or so, and it's called The Unspoken Truth. They had a demo or a promo 92 called Promotional Cassette. And this stuff, it's really technical. I love this logo so much. Yeah, and big sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's very much in the vein of Death in their technical years. Maybe take Human, kind of like that. Maybe not quite as technical, but this is, like I said, 91, 92. Very, very fun stuff. Really well produced, but it only came out on cassette, and it's just impossible to find.
Yeah, never heard of them before.
But really shreddy, kind of melodic. They kind of have some. It's kind of like songs, I guess, are kind of about like natural disaster and extinction and pollution and stuff like that. So it kind of harkens back to more 80s kind of topics.
Yeah.
But when they get into their death metal moments, it's really, really, really heavy, and it sounds more like passionate about the topic rather than being violent or vile or vicious. Another V word would make sense, whatever. But yeah, any Death fan should really, really enjoy something like this. But look it up on YouTube; it's really fun. And I don't know, there's something really charming about that horrendous cover artwork.
Looks like the same person that did Accidental Suicide.
Even this is worse. This must be like one of their kids with a colored pencil in 6th grade.
Daddy, the skull has trees growing out of it. Boogie woogie.
But it rules.
So you were talking about the infamous interview with Fenris.
Mhm.
Always big sunglasses.
Yeah,
Is
always
cool.
big sunglasses. Yeah.
Always big sunglasses. Not is a cool band, sondern always big sunglasses is cool band. Yeah, and the bald guy that did the interview, he's the husband of a good friend of mine.
God, you know everybody.
The 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's 7 degrees of Jurgen Allman over there is what's going on.
I'm gonna shut up now.
There, I love it.
Years of being in the scene, man, and you were there at the right time, and awesome. It's good to
Years,
hear.
decades.
In Europe, you guys are so near one another, but how
Mhm.
each country has their own identity. America is so spread out. We're hours and hours and hours from one another, and metal is such a niche livelihood that you're very, very lucky if you have 5 more people that have the same taste as you in your city, or even within driving distance.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome to hear.
That exposure to
I-
all those great shows. Holy shit.
I think the very first live stream we did was about festival experiences or concert experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and I've talked a lot about festivals. And here in Europe, within 5-hour driving distance or maybe 7-hour driving distance, we have 25 festivals a year. And back then, I went to every second one of them. So, and I sometimes I played myself, and I know the sound guys, I know the musicians, and it's a very tiny scene.
Sure.
And that makes me kind of you want to say I know everybody? I don't. I never met the Halloween guys. The Halloween guys are practicing 20 kilometers from here. So, but I never met them.
They're working on new shit. You need to go over there with a little handheld recorder and sneak some early stuff for me.
Yeah.
In the bushes.
Yeah. You got a private notification for that.
Right. All right. Ben, did you just go? Yeah, so it's me. All right, we'll go back to Australia for a second. You know, Alan, Alan loves this band, and I get it. They're a great band. I don't understand why they were never bigger. Armored Angel.
Mhm.
I listen to, their early stuff is kind of thrashy. Then they get a little bit more death metal-y as they go on. But I listen to this stuff, and I can hear who they influence. I hear some Destroyer 666 type of riffs. I hear, just some other stuff from Australia. And they're obviously a very pivotal band. I don't know if it's just because they couldn't keep a solid lineup. They couldn't keep it together. I don't know, but great band. Australia has thrown some amazing acts over the years. Absolutely great. And there's a definite attitude that comes with that scene, which sets it apart from the rest of the world, to be honest. How you can listen to Japanese bands and tell that's where they're from. Australia bands typically have a stamp, for sure. But, Armored Angel, they're one that popped into my head pretty early, too. They put out some stuff over the years, and they've got some notoriety, and they've influenced a lot of bands, but, be there, but the rest of the world, I don't know. But yeah, absolutely killer. It sucks they couldn't have translated to a wider world acceptance, you know what I mean, other than being regional.
I think distribution probably hit Aussie bands maybe the most.
Oh God,
as far as here in America,
they're the farthest away from everything. You know? They just are. Jurgen.
All right, as Ben is wearing the shirt, I have to talk about that band. I'm sorry. I almost wore my old Atrocity shirt, but I didn't.
First two albums rule.
Yeah. They put out a single called Blue Blood in 1989. That was more of a grindcore thing.
What's up, Scott?
After that, they released the album Hallucinations. That was a unique blend of death metal. I didn't pull it. After that, the album Todessehnsucht or Longing for Death. It's unique as well. It has a little bit of a different sound, but it still sounds the same, so to say. They got a weird way of songwriting. But after that, they released the album Blood. I still like it.
Oh, track 5 is where it starts to turn around a little bit. I'm in Darkness. That song is decent, and then it gets a little bit better. But the first few songs are real rough, real rough.
I still like it, but it sounded different. But it's still got that weird songwriting stuff. After that, they went into European I don't know, EMB stuff
club shit. Yeah.
I saw them in Milwaukee in 2001, and they were god awful. They had that album with the cello player lady on the front.
Yeah. Did they have the naked ladies on stage?
They had a lady. I walked into the room while they were playing. I stood there for 2 seconds and went, "Nope, not interested," and turned around and walked out.
Wait a second. Alex Krull, the singer, was married to the
Liv Christie.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And she appeared on some of the albums.
Yeah.
You remember that, Marty, in Metal Fest 01? So Atrocity were playing on a stage, but there was like this giant arena, and there were tons of merch tables in front of them, and there was also was it lady wrestling or just all different kinds of wrestling?
Kjørvik was also a wrestling promoter, so there was elements of that. They had a ring in there and shit. They had porn stars. Jasmine St. Clair was like announcing bands and stuff. Yeah.
So there was wrestling going on while Atrocity was playing. I was
wrestling. Yeah.
I fucking hate wrestling. Not much I hate more than wrestling.
Yeah. All right, Roger.
This is an old band that returned a couple of years ago, Via Aggression.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
They're another Wisconsin band, aren't they?
Yeah.
Third Stage of Decay, which came out to 22. This is fucking killer album. It is kind of a developed obituary feel to it, kind of, the bass is kind of obituary. The vocals are a little bit, in that vein, but musically, it's just, a fantastic album. It's, if you haven't heard this, I mean, they're probably more well known for the first ones, but I never see this album pop up anywhere really. It's out on several labels like Satanat Records, and just go and check it out if you want.
Cool cover art. It's cool.
Yeah.
Only on CD and digital.
Yeah, Satanat Records doesn't do any vinyls. Was a lot of shit going on with Satanat Records. Being from Russia, they had to move to Georgia because of the war. They didn't want to stay in Russia, so they kind of lost a lot of their inventory was left behind in Russia. So they had a kind of a heavy start. When they started up again, it was kind of difficult. They were going to do T-shirts and everything, but that fell through. So just a fantastic album that I think it's weird that they landed on that label, but they should have been picked up by a bigger label, in my opinion, because they do have a name in the underground scene. But it's kind of it's easy to get hold of it, at least here in Europe. But if you haven't heard it, go and check it out, because it's a banger of an album.
Yeah, I like that Expound and Exhort album. That's good.
Yeah.
Classic stuff. Oop.
Yeah, Pestilence, Via Aggression, yeah. Of course, Jurgen has seen them live.
No, I didn't, because Via Aggression pulled out of the tour, and Pestilence did as well. So Loud Blast did play that tour, and Tiamat. So I've got my ticket signed by Johnny from Tiamat with the inverted cross.
The inverted L. It looks like an L.
And Paul Masvidal.
Oh, right on.
Oh crap!
So I no, I didn't see Via Aggression. I just have the ticket stub.
You should have seen it.
All right, Ben.
Oh, I'm having a hard time picking it as we get down to the last few. This is kind of a classic, but I was surprised none of you other guys have shown this yet. Deteriorate, Rotting in Hell.
I skipped right over that one. Yep.
Really falls in line with like that Morgue, Eroded Thoughts. Sounds really, really similar to that.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Accidental Suicide or the Sickening Horror, I think. A lot of they were Chicago, or no, actually they were from Philly. Sorry. But they sound quite a bit like, I guess, an amalgam between kind of your Midwest style and your East Coast style. JL America, symbol of quality.
Sorta.
And yeah, it's generic. They're not reinventing any wheels whatsoever, but it's a really, really great headbanging time. Can't
Good
go
stuff.
wrong with that. I can't really tell what shirt this guy's wearing. Hellraiser. Probably.
Yeah.
Back when those kids wore their movie shirts to throw me off. Kind of essential. I think the Crypt reissued it with some demos, and that stuff's awesome. And they turned into a black metal band after this, and they released the Sensuous Entrance, which is also killer.
All right.
I think they did it on vinyl too.
Well, this band I'm about to show, I don't get. They're probably bigger than I think they were, but they changed their sound a lot over the years. But when it comes to Norway, not as many people talk about this band as they should, and it's a crime. Beyond the Wandering Moon by Eternus, and God damn it, my brain is drunk.
Your whole body is drunk.
The red one, the green one, and the red one, or the whatever. But then the EP2, holy shit,
Dark Sorcery.
This shit is just. Everybody's like black metal. I just don't. I get there's like a black metal atmosphere to this, but it's just heavy. Right there is where they started to lose me, to be honest. Shadows of Old, that was a sign of what was to come. Still a decent record, but man, what came after it? They just went kind of boring, brutal. This shit here's got emotion and flow, and it's just so well composed and atmosphere. That's, I think, what people are talking about when they talk about, the black metal vibe. Yeah, they had face paint on, they had the corpse paint on. Some of them did, but God, these are just such well written. I always say the Norwegian bull thrower, because that's what it always kind of gave me that vibe. But I love this album in particular. Holy crap, what an eternal classic. Yeah, exactly, TJ. Eternus Our Death to me as well. But a lot of people call it black metal because of the corpse paint and the atmosphere, I think. But I mean, what do you guys think? Is this death metal or is this black metal?
It's death metal, but there is kind of black metal feelings about it. So
atmosphere.
Yeah,
100%.
the atmosphere. So you could say it's kind of a black and death metal, one very early of that sort. But for me, it's been mostly a death metal band.
Yeah,
I think.
And then they went total death. But I mean, this album sounds like this album cover looks. I just fucking love this thing so much. Yeah. We're gonna do it for an album club one of these days. I always get sidetracked with something else whenever we.
They show a lot of patience, and they really draw out their ideas so that they can embellish them interestingly in ways that kind of keep you, I guess, listening.
And Ari's vocals are just super low and sick, and just very stately in the way he enunciates and presents those lyrics over the riffs. It's just, so good. Such a great band.
Crushing.
Yep. Well, it's another band that's overlooked in Norway's Hades, which went on to be Hades Almighty. The first couple Hades records are just, and all that shit was reissued, but it just, no one talks about it.
I think the black metal thing with Eternus is they had a female bass player, and she was wearing leather tops, stuff like that, and a couple of guys, a couple of girls were wearing corpse paint.
Yeah.
That may have to do a little bit with them, because the female aspect draws you a little bit more to the black metal. I don't know.
They are death metal, god damn it.
I don't disagree at all. I like dark metal. I think that's a really apt. I think that dark metal is there because there's bands who don't really fit both.
And I gotta say, their second to the last album, Heathen, and their newest album, Philosopher, awesome. They're back on track. Both albums are fucking great. Skip the middle period. I mean, it's just boring, brutal death metal. It's okay. I mean, if I saw it used, I'd buy it and be like, meh. I'd listen to it a couple times and it'd be gone forever in the collection. But Philosopher, Heathen, also excellent albums. I was very impressed to hear them circle the wagon back around to the old stuff. All right, Jurgen, I'm I'm down to 2, and that's it. And I think Ben's down to 2, and you guys, it's 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning there on Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not drunk enough.
Oh, I almost pulled Flesh Crawl. Good pick. Yep.
Yeah.
They got a little bit of buzz in later years because, the first album was more on the doomy side, longer songs.
That needs to be reissued so fucking bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shorter songs, a little bit more on the Cannibal Corpse side.
Yeah.
They got a little bit more melodic with that one. They got a new singer with Sven on Blood Red Massacre and a lot more melodic.
Yeah.
Sven, rest in peace. We gotta see you in Valhalla. And one of my favorites is Blood Red Massacre. As Blood Rains from the Sky.
Yeah.
This was their debut for Metal Blade Records. Everybody is screaming sell out, but this is still a fantastic record. And the bonus track on that one is a Carnage cover, The Day Man Lost. I always loved the band. I met them in 97, something like that, and they have always been great friends. So they are true to their hearts. So,
Jurgen, can you tell me, is this a German band? They were called Ulcerous Phlegm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Were they German?
Yeah, they were from the same area that Flesh Crawl was hailing from.
I've got a 7-inch by that band that I've always loved, and they do a cover of Carnage, The Day Man Lost, and it fucking rules. It's super low tuned and just nasty. That's a great 7-inch. Did they ever put out a full length?
They did, but only maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
Wow.
So they Ulcerous Phlegm reformed, and they did a full length. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that 7-inch. I'll have to investigate that. All right, Roger.
Yeah, this is a newer band project, supergroup, whatever. That a Voracious Scourge in Death.
The
This
killer
is
album art. That's killer. Yeah.
Fucking killer album as well. I can list up the names. Ad on vocals, Jason McIntyre guitar, Mike Smith on drum, Tony Coy on bass, and Billy Rickard on guitar.
Ad from Sinister?
Yes. He does great vocals on this album as well. So, I barely see anybody show this. This should be, when people talk about Suffocation and Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, this should have been way more talked about because this is a killer album. And also the EP that I released a couple of years ago. This came out in 2020, so hopefully there will be more stuff by them. But
wait a minute, who's the drummer? Is it Mike from
Mike.
Suffocation? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've seen I heard an earlier EP or something. It's really good. Okay.
yeah, the album is just as good or better. So
Mike Smith is a player that sounds like he's not just playing drums; he's beating the tar out of them, so that it sounds
making
like
them-
that on the other end.
Making them pay for their lack of vision. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not playing like that. He's playing like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Crushing.
All right, of them.
All right, Ben.
When I first got my drum set, a friend of mine said, "Best piece of advice I can give to a drummer is play them like they owe you money."
And they haven't paid.
No. I'm waiting on my Satan's almighty penis money to come in. A Chechen band who released a couple of full lengths. This is their debut, The Beginning of Extinction. What, did you have this pulled too?
No.
Sounds quite a bit like death to me.
The back of it looks like a Celestial Season album cover, album shoot.
It's because of the blue.
Yeah, the blue. Solar Lovers. Yep.
Sounds a lot like Leprosy era death. Nothing really too original or anything. Had to get a reissue of it on Awakening Records.
Mhm.
Yeah, really been liking this. Picked it up a couple of weeks ago.
Cool. All right.
I'm just laughing because I told you we were on tour with Sinister, and Scabbard played with us.
Of course they did.
This must have been the biggest tour that ever hit Europe. All the bands ever were on this fucking tour.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest tours we did because we drew about 80 people a night.
Not terrible.
That's not terrible, really, but
It depends on the crowd.
it depends on the crowd. Yep.
They brought some energy. They brought a lot of energy.
Yeah, if all 80 were in the front, it's good.
Going like this.
Yeah. If all 80 is 20 meters from the stage and standing like this,
At least at a couple of shows in Czechoslovakia, the master guy turned up.
Okay, yeah.
Paul Speckman?
Yeah, he lives in Czech Republic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's back in the States now because I'm hearing a lot about Master, and I think they played MDF also.
Oh yeah, he's got two different lineups. A lineup that plays in Europe and a lineup that plays in the US. Yeah.
Wow. Fancy that.
Mhm.
Wow. International master. Yep.
Yeah, Paul is a friend of mine as well.
All right. We just did Voracious. Where are we at in this lineup? Jurgen, did you just go? No. Roger just went.
No.
Ben,
Yeah.
your turn.
Okay. Still having a hard time picking, but let's go with. No, I just showed Scabbard.
Cheers to Cyanide, too, everybody. Scott's in the chat. How you doing, man?
I just showed Scabbard, but want me to go again?
Oh, you did? I don't know where the fuck we're at here. Where are we at? I'll go. All right. Well, we've shown a lot of Sweden tonight, and it's kind of weird this band never got bigger as well. Nirvana 2002. This is the... In fact, I never even heard of this frickin' band until Relapse put out this. You know what? That's a lie, because the singer sang on the Crawl EP by Entombed, which I loved. I loved that EP. I thought he did a great job on that. I liked the Crawl EP better than Clandestine. I just did. I still like Clandestine. I know I talk a lot of shit about it on here, but that EP rules. It rules.
Mhm.
If that guy sang on Clandestine, it would have been much better than Nicky Anderson singing on it. But anyway, these guys are, straight up Swedish death metal, no frills. You could clump them in with Uncanny or Defile? No. I don't know. I'm drunk.
You're drunk.
But again, nothing new or exciting, but they're the right place at the right time, and they had connections to bigger bands. But this is awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I spun records at a show the other night, and I played track 2 from that thing. Rips.
Yeah, totally rips. Jurgen. Last round. Here we go.
Okay, last round. Why not talk about a little bit like Angel Corpse?
Oh, they're so good.
This is my favorite album by them. Angel Corpse always had that old school feeling around them, sensing a little bit like Possessed. I don't know. It's Possessed and Morbid Angel and modern death metal mixed together.
Mm.
You can think about their main man Pete. What you want? He can be an asshole. He has been over here in Germany a lot back in the early 2000s, and he behaved like an asshole. Hmm. I still like their first 3 albums.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
comeback album, I don't know what it's called.
Lucifer and Lightning or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It's just not the same. The first one has Hammer of Gods.
My
is
favorite.
Just a pure possessed worship. The second one and this one, more like a little bit more of a Morbid Angel sound, but played with more heart to it.
Ferocity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Ooh.
Gene's
Always
a
loved
beast.
the band.
What's that?
Always loved the band.
I agree. I've seen them a bunch during that era too,
Mhm.
and they were fucking awesome. So good. Every time I saw them, it was just like you could feel the intensity just rolling off the stage. It was so good every time.
I've seen them play together with Turnus.
Right on.
Wow.
I saw him when on Hammer of Gods, John Longstreth on drums, and
Uh-huh.
killer, crushing. Awesome pick. Great band. Roger.
Well, I'm gonna go to Norway then, and one of the newer. This is Execration with Return to the Void. This is the really logo, but they didn't want to mess with the cover art, so they did it like this. Don't know why, but killer. Kind of these guys, as a lot of Norwegians started out with a kind of autopsy worship, but this kind of evolved into more technical territory and a little bit progressive. If you kind of listen to the title track, I think it has a fucking killer thrash part right in smack in the middle of the song. Just break up the whole thing. Just killer band live as well. I've seen them 3 or 4 times, and they just rips. Should have been way bigger. I mean, a lot of people know about Obliteration, but this band is even better in my opinion. And yeah, should have been bigger in my kind of humble opinion. Not so humble, but yeah, just a fucking banger. 4 killer albums. So yeah.
That Norwegian death metal scene is doing it like it never got tired and bad in the late 90s.
Yeah, they have that kind of, when we talk about energy and stuff like that, there's a lot of energy in these bands, especially when you see them live. It's kind of, yeah, just pouring out everything. They fucking love playing. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, just go out on the stage and just do it and don't care about anything really.
I had that Morbid Dimensions, got it a couple years ago.
Cool. All right, Ben, what you got?
Well, I saw Scott Carroll from Cyanide was in the chat. I got a Chicago pick. Terrible band name, but killer band. Demented Ted. Oh, yeah. Promises Impure. So this was not a Pavement reissue. They actually were signed to Pavement back when they were picking up death metal bands. Generic, great, killer death metal. Got their demo back there on the wall too.
I never bought that. I saw it in stores back in the day. I never bought it because of the fucking name. Seriously, I don't care. But yeah, it's
terrible.
Great.
Yeah, that is because you know one Demented Ted.
I do. Oh, he's not that demented. He's a big old teddy bear.
I think he knows how to take that.
All right. Well, my last one is kind of a posery one, but I felt, and I don't listen to slam death metal much at all, but there's a few bands I like and have gravitated towards for some dumbass reason, but Catalepsy from Russia. This is Gravenous Hour. Again, I really never listen to this shit, but when I do, This one always kind of hit the spot. Really super technical. You know, this is flat brim, you know, type of death metal, pot leaves on shit type of stuff. But they're technical, well produced, really sharp sounding, super brutal vocals. This is on Unique Leader Records. I don't know. I always kind of dug this band, and it's funny when it comes to the brutal, the slam scene, you don't really hear many people talking about Catalepsy. So I don't know. It seems like a band that's doing it right. Granted, they're from Russia, so that's probably a hindrance. But and I've seen some of their shit live, and they look like yo boys up there doing their thing, but they're delivering some pretty sick type of slam death metal. Again, not a style I'm into often, but every once in a while it enters into the car CD player going to town, and yeah. So I'm ending on a poser note. So that's that.
Yeah.
Is that it? Does anybody have anything they want to run through real quick before we cut it? Roger's looking. He's probably got about 15
I got a bunch of stuff.
Do a speed round. Do a speed round.
Sever Crotch from Iceland.
Isn't Iceland the place with the penis museum? So there you go. They're inspired.
Brutal Killer album, one-off, changed their name.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know.
Severed Crotch.
From Slovakia, we have Infer, which is more of a evil, slightly blackened death metal, but killer band. Never see anybody talk about this. UK, Sarpanitum. Blessed Be by My Brother. This is a kind of atmospheric or cosmic death metal. It's the leads here are fantastic. Very brutal death metal with very melodic leads, so it kind of just fits very well together. Absolutely banger. Should have mentioned, Rune Magic, Drawn and Quartered. It's a band that I feel should have been a little bit bigger than they are. I don't know if they're bigger over in US, but
they're good.
Yeah,
they're a Seattle band. It has that band you showed earlier.
And then I can end off with some Polish stuff. Trauma, long-lasting, modern-sounding death metal band. They kind of evolved with the times, but great musicians.
I had a demo from that band back in the day. They've been around a while, haven't they?
Oh yeah, this from the 90s. So killer band. The earlier stuff are more kind of straightforward death metal, but they are brilliant. We could go with Divos. Is another one in the same category. Technical, brutal death metal, great drumming. I mean, this drummer is he's one of the few drummers that have actively use the cowbell, which I fucking love. And last, an old one, Schismatic.
Oh yeah,
killer, slightly technical Polish death metal. It doesn't sound like Vader and stuff like that. It's just, I would say, more towards Pestilence in a way, but not copying Pestilence, but have the kind of same feel to them. Released a couple of killer albums. This is another one that's released through this Thrashing Madness
cool
stuff.
I discovered that a couple months ago or so. There's a lot of good suggestions in the chat that I guess we probably felt like they were well known enough or something. Like Shub Nugurath, great band,
The Mexican dudes just never got the love, but they were twisted. They had a twisted way of doing death metal. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Jurgen, do you have any last minute ones you want to rip through, or are you good to go?
Just because you might ask why I've seen that many bands live. Look,
wow,
this is just a one-day concert. It's Vomitory, Hate Eternal, Dark Funeral, Vader, Motto, Cannibal Corpse, Immortal, and Deicide on one evening. So
Vomitory could have been on this list tonight. I mean, Raped in Their Own
Mhm.
Blood. What a classic fucking killer death metal album. My God, it's so heavy. That should have been
their second one is my favorite.
right on. Yeah, all that early shit's so good. Deranged is another good band. They're German too, aren't they?
Swedish.
No, they
Or
are Swedish.
Swedish, you're
Yeah.
right.
Deranged are a couple of friends of mine as well. I left them out.
Logan, you survived that with a lot of weed and drinking. That's how you survived all that death metal in one day. A lot of dehydration. Yeah.
I survived that with a lot of weed and drinking as well.
Yep. All right, gentlemen, anything you want to add? What's coming up on your channels? You want to promote anything before we jump on out of here? Or what's going on?
We don't promote our channels.
Well, I hope everybody that's been watching tonight subscribes to all these guys. Check out Roger Kjørvik. I'm saying that wrong. I'm sorry. Check out Jurgen's 6 Beers, 9 Wives. Check out Brainsmasher, of course. And hey, if you're new here, subscribe to Heavy Metallurgy. We love having you, and we have a good time here every week. So cheers, everybody. What?
Rick is being funny in the comment here.
He always is.
You have channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, come check it out.
My last 2 picks: Rotting, The Forgotten. and
Oh,
Torture.
shit. I'm sorry, Ben. I thought you were done. Okay. Right on.
Both demo comps. My partner is going to be out of town for a couple of weeks, so I might shoot a lot of videos or
We'll be
not.
shooting a lot of stuff.
And
The whole house will be covered in, yeah,
bugs.
stuff. Anyway. Everybody in the chat, you rule. Thank you all for the super chats tonight and hanging out with us. And, of course, Roger, Jurgen, Ben, you're all the best. We appreciate you having you. Thanks for filling in for Alan. Hope the Colsons are having a great anniversary. So, cheers, everybody. We will see you
Wednesday.
Monday. Show notes. I hope to have a review up myself on Monday. We'll see how that goes. And Wednesday, the album club are covering a Watchmaker album. I don't know what Kellen did to us here. He pulled a dirty trick, according to my friend Ben. He threw a dirty trick, and then next Friday, I don't know. So, anyway, we'll be here. Hopefully, you will be as well. So, cheers, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.